All right. Hold on 1 second. Just 1 second. New third-party training. You can now choose if you want to allow third-party companies to use your content to train AI models in studio settings under third-party. Models in studio settings under third-party. That sounds good. Not critical right now. Okay, so yeah. So Luigi breaking. Yeah, there's a video. But did I do a real mic test? I need to make sure that I get an echo. Let me play this and see if it plays.
Parts. This is not a sex change. This is a correction.
I need to make sure that I get an echo. Let me play this and see if it plays.
This is not a sex change.
Yes, everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Anyway, so Mr. Luigi Mangione, breaking, Luigi Mangione charged as terrorist, and these guys are losing their shite. This is so funny. I mean, obviously, I've been saying this for a couple of days, that I noticed that this is legit terrorism. What he did, right? He wanted to send a message, right? So that's terrorism. You want to terrorize, you want to send a message. So, okay, that's the definition of terrorism. So, okay, that's one thing. No, but these guys are losing their shite. maybe we should listen to what they have to say, because I've already heard this twice. But maybe it's a good idea to play it again and seriously analyze what they're saying. Let's give it a shot.
There is no red, white, or blue
I'm not going to go through the whole thing, just a little bit.
in this country. The only color that matters is green, because we live in the United Corporations of America.
That's very interesting. So you admit that there is no racism. That's already an admission that the whole racist narrative is a lie. This is good. So with these commies, these are literal communists. By any definition, these are legit communists, terrorists, fascists. These are the most dangerous people on the planet. This is the end of civilization. So, what did I want to say about them?
Welcome, Jordan Sheridan live. Status Quo in the house. It is, what are we, Tuesday, December the 17th, the year.
So they call themselves Status Quo. Coup is a revolution in French.
2024 in the United Corporations of America. And we have breaking news. I was not going to go live today, but I also wasn't expecting this indictment to be read by a grand jury in New York City. And great to have Zainab back, because we talked about this yesterday, that there was murmurs and pundits on CNN talking about changing the definition of terrorism to charge.
There's no need to change the definition of terrorism. This is the definition of terror. What he did, what Mangione did, is the definition of terrorism. I don't see why you need to change the definition.
Luigi Mangione, the alleged shooter of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, as a domestic terrorist, and he has officially been indicted by a grand jury, among other things.
So it's very interesting that I said that he is a domestic terrorist. I've been saying this for a couple of days, and now finally somebody else is saying it, and right away it's the charge. That's fantastic. I'm really happy. I'm very happy.
On the charge of terrorism. I don't even think slippery slope is the appropriate term. This is beyond that.
Interesting. He has an American flag, but instead of the stars for the states, he has these what do you call it? He calls them enterprises, companies, whatever. This is Starbucks, McDonald's, Verizon. Kimberly? What is that? Lily? I don't know. Microsoft?
and this is very dangerous. Whether you agree with what he did or not, a lot of people don't. I have been clear. I'm not condoning gunning, going around gunning down CEOs or
But he is. I mean, he says I don't condone gunning down CEOs, but he condones and he supports it and he's very happy with it. I mean, that's all he's been saying for the last couple of days, including today. He, of course, he's very happy with the brutal murder of the CEO. So I don't get this mishmash position. So he's for, but he's not clear.
anyone else. But I do understand
There you go. But I'm against gunning down of CEOs, but
his reasoning and the outrage of Americans, including our audience. But labeling him a domestic terrorist, I believe, is very dangerous and going to be reversed on all of us. So we'll get into.
okay, so it's very dangerous. It's going to be reversed against all of us. Look, this is terrorism. So you have to call the child by its name. Can't just you this is the definition, right? There is a word in the dictionary and there is a definition in the legal system. And this is it. What Luigi Mangione did is exactly it. That's terrorism. It's domestic terrorism. So I don't see why it's like that's like saying if we accuse someone of theft, that's going to come back to bite us in the tushy. Yeah. So just don't do it. Don't go around terrorizing terror. Don't be a terrorist.
That. First, Colin.
The message, right? So Luigi Mangione wanted to send a message, right? That was his intent. Okay, so we got the message. Now we have a message back. Don't be like Luigi Mangione. That's it. It's very simple. If you're gonna behave like Luigi Mangione, we're not gonna have much of a choice but to punish you initially. First, we're gonna punish you, which, as far as I'm concerned, that's execution. But I don't think New York State has execution. Does New York State have execution? New York State has not had a valid death penalty status since '04, when the state's highest court ruled in People v. La Valle that the state's death penalty statute violated the state constitution. Okay. Subsequent legislative attempts to fix or replace the statute have failed. And in July '08, Governor David Patterson, but I think he could be charged in a federal court as a domestic terrorist. Issued an executive order I guess that's disestablishing New York's death row. Death sentences are no longer sought at the state level. However, in a federal court case, a jury is currently deliberating on whether to impose a death sentence on Saifullah Saipov, an Islamic extremist convicted of killing 8 people in 17 bike path attack in New York City. This is very similar. This case is an exception as it is a federal trial and the death penalty is still an option in federal courts. Nevertheless, it is important to note that New York State itself does not have an active death penalty system. Okay. So New York State doesn't, but I think this could somehow be tried federally. Maybe after New York State is done with him, maybe then the federal government is gonna seek something. I would say. I mean, so we should discuss law and crime and punishment. The whole notion of crime and punishment. I'm against crime and punishment. Punishment is good, like as a last resort, as an instant fix. because something happened unexpectedly. But in the long run, we should not have crime. There shouldn't be crime. There shouldn't be incentives to commit crimes. But in our current state, there's plenty of incentives to commit crimes. So as long as there is incentives to become Luigi Mangione, right? He is just the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, he thinks he is saving the American people. He is an ideologue. He gave up his life to help us in his mind, in his disinformed mind. Now, the fact is that he is disinformed. I mean, these two guys here, they're disinformed. They really believe the intense disinformation that we're all subjected to. Subjugated, I guess, subjected and subjugated. Anyway, so this planet is under a constant barrage of a disinformation campaign by us. It's a horizontal disinformation campaign. It's people for people spread this disinformation of communism, and it doesn't matter that whenever they try communism, it fails and people die, and it's the end of civilization, literally. And even in theory, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter. I mean, these people are like babies, and there's nothing you can say to them. I mean, there's plenty you can say to them, but they've been brainwashed to such an extent that at this point, it's for all intents and practice, for all intents and practices, for all intents and purposes, for all intents and purposes, it's hopeless. And these are just two people with 300,000 subscribers. I mean, um, so I mean, and we have a real issue. There is there is a lot of disinformation, and I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. I don't think it's fixable. It's there's an asymmetry when it comes to information, meaning these people can easily support a terrorist and terrify and terrorize a whole planet. Just a few people. One guy, Luigi Mangione. He can easily terrorize an entire planet. But if I need to remove this terror, if I want to make the planet relax and not fear, that's going to take a lot more, because right now the whole planet has been terrorized. It's shocked. It's very easy for this one disinformed individual. It's very easy for this one person to change the mindset of an entire planet. But if I want to say the reverse, I can't just easily go and kill someone and send the opposite message. If I go and I kill this guy, I'm not going to send the opposite message. If I go and I kill, which of course I'm not going to. I'm just saying, if I'm going to retaliate personally against this guy, well, first of all, it's going to be basically impossible to go and kill him, because he is protected. So that's going to be very dangerous. That's going to be impossible. But even if I could do something, what's the message that's going to come through? Right? Last time somebody killed an assassin, it just became the biggest conspiracy theory ever. The assassination of the JFK assassin. That's that's a conspiracy theory to this day. So it's just going to become a conspiracy theory. No one is going to believe it that I just wanted to retaliate. So it's anyway, there's an asymmetry. It's very difficult to for them, for the destabilizing forces of Luigi Mangione, it's much easier to destabilize the system. It's much easier to destabilize a stable system. Right? It's very easy to blow up a building. It's very easy to kill. For Luigi Mangione, it was fairly easy to assassinate a CEO. But can you bring to life a CEO? Can you? That's basically an impossible task. Anyway, let's continue.
If you can show the full screen here, my cameraman John came over to help fix my studio because I fucked it up. In an attempt to hang things up, I chipped the wall. So he's
So he thinks CNN is a force of like of what, of the right wing? Facebook? Google? Google is I mean, these are all extreme leftist corporations. Well, maybe Fox is not. CNN is definitely extreme left. Facebook is extreme left. Google is extreme left. I mean, these are extreme left. Who is Lily?
change some things around here. So let me know in the live chat if you like the swapping of the flag and the coup flag. He has it up on puppet strings too. That's the behind the scenes. You can't see. He's got the flag hanging by a string, and it's kind of cool. But let me know what you think of the flag swapped with the status quo flag if you like it. And let me read first. Smash the like button, share this live stream so we can get it out to more people. More people that press the like button, the more people that will see this. Let me read you about the charges here. This from CNN. Luigi Mangione has been indicted for the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Manhattan earlier this month. According to newly released court documents, Mangione faces an 11-count indictment, including 1 count of murder in the first degree and 2 counts of murder in the second degree in connection with the fatal shooting of Thompson. A Manhattan grand jury indicted Mangione of second-degree murder as a crime of terrorism. Let me repeat, as a crime of terrorism. Before we play the clip, Zaina, are you surprised by this? And what are your thoughts on the adding in the terrorism charge?
I'm not surprised at all. Of course, he did have a manifesto, but honestly, I don't think that they would have charged him with terrorism had it not been for the fact of the outrage and outcry from the public and the reaction from the public. I think that's where this charge is stemming from. I think it's meant to be a chilling effect on those who, if he can be labeled as a terrorist, then feigning your...
So they're saying because the public is so happy with the murder of the CEO, that's why they're charging Luigi Mangione with terrorism? I don't think so. I came up with this idea of that he is a terrorist because of the definition. I don't think this has to do with the public's reaction. I personally don't think, and I mean, maybe it's true. It doesn't matter. The question is, what does the law say? We have to follow the law. We're all law-abiding citizens, and if you're not a law-abiding citizen, then you should leave. Leave, basically. You should try and change it if you don't like it, but you can also leave. You don't have to stay. You can go somewhere else. I don't care.
outrage at the healthcare industry can be labeled as terroristic.
Right.
And I think it's a very, very slippery slope.
Yeah, I have a lot to say on this, but let's first play clips from the press conference. This was Manhattan Attorney District Alvin Bragg, who was the district attorney who brought the porn star charges against Trump, and the new police commissioner, Jessica Tisch, who is the daughter of a New York oligarch and billionaire, from the Tisch family, which is...
So this guy is so upset at Google. He has Google on the flag. Meanwhile, he is on YouTube, which is a Google company or affiliate. So you don't like Google. So why are you cooperating with Google? You're probably getting paid by Google. So you are Google. So I don't get it. Why are you so upset at Google? You are this flag. You're literally the United Corporations of America. That's who you are. Why? I mean, I'm so confused.
She's a famous and very, very wealthy family in New York. So I wonder how she became the police commissioner. Let's play. There's a couple clips, so we'll play some and then respond. First, let's play.
So everything, of course, is conspiracy theories. So she became the police commissioner because her dad is a billionaire, of course. Because of course.
The police commissioner very, very fiercely scolding you, the American people, for praising Luigi Mangione.
As DA Bragg said, Luigi Mangione is now formally charged and indicted for murder. And let me be perfectly clear. In the nearly 2 weeks since Mr. Thompson's killing,
this is great. First degree murder charge. This is terrific. Because first degree is reserved for killing police and stuff like that. So this is terrific. Just the best.
we have seen a shocking and appalling celebration of cold-blooded murder. Social media has erupted with
That's a beautiful jacket. That is beautiful. She's the police commissioner. I'm so proud to live in a country where a woman is a police commissioner. This is just amazing. And listen to what she has to say. Just perfect. Perfect words. I wouldn't be surprised that she is an extreme Democrat. That doesn't matter. This is where Democrats and Republicans are shoulder to shoulder. This is crime. I mean, there is a limit to even extreme leftist New York City Democrats. They have their limits, and this is the limit. I mean, they can easily see this has gone too far.
praise for this cowardly attack. People ghoulishly plastered posters threatening the other CEOs, with an X over Mr. Thompson's picture, as though he was some sort of a sick trophy. And yesterday, the New York Post
Whacked deck. Oh, this is the next item she's going to cover.
reported that some extreme activists were circulating a deck of cards with
So she's actually she's a police commissioner. I don't think she's a police officer. She doesn't have the power of an office, of the officer, but she's a commissioner. I wonder what's the status of a commissioner.
other most wanted
It's a civilian liaison between the political rank and the police rank, I guess.
CEOs to be targeted for assassination. These are the threats of a lawless, violent mob who would trade in their own vigilantism for the rule of law that protects us all. Let me say this plainly. There is no heroism in what Mangione did. This was a senseless act
I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of her.
of violence. It was a cold and calculated crime that stole a life and put New Yorkers at risk.
Amazing, amazing words. Beautiful. Beautiful. And he's behind her, and the original US flag behind them. This is perfect. Perfect. You have to stand shoulder to shoulder against evil. Right? This Luigi Mangione, I mean, he is himself, of course, a victim of disinformation, but he, okay, I mean, we have to stop it. We can't let the disinformation continue until it destroys us. We have to stop it. Us adults have to stop the baby behavior of the Luigi Mangiones, that they think that with violence they're gonna fix something.
We don't celebrate murders and we don't lionize the killing of anyone. And any attempt to rationalize this is vile, reckless, and offensive to our deeply held principles of justice.
Amazing, 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 absolutely beautiful words. And you don't think for a second that she doesn't think that tomorrow morning she's going to be the target. She lives in fear. There's a certain level of fear that she has to live with these nutcases that we're surrounded by, that would easily execute her because, to send a message. Send a message. What's the message? What's the message? Oh my God. So she's risking her life to do this. So I'm very proud of her. I mean, absolutely proud of her. Oh my God. Oh. And this is an American, what do you call it? Patriot. She's an American patriot. That's what we need. That's a strong woman.
Our deeply held principles. And by the way, she is Jessica Tish, the daughter of Jonathan Tish, the oligarch.
Why is it important that she's the daughter of somebody? Why is that even relevant? Why is it relevant?
Head of the Lowe's hotel, Lowe's Hotels chain.
Lowe's Hotels? What do you want from him? So he built a hotel chain or whatever? So she's guilty of his crime of building hotels and managing hotels, running hotels, owning hotels? That's his crime? And her crime is she's his daughter? She could have had the easiest life. She doesn't need this.
So he is also the co-owner, Jonathan Tish, of the New York Football Giants. So I'm sure Jessica Tish, just on her own merits, became police commissioner of New York.
Oh, just on her merits, meaning. So it's another day, another conspiracy theory by these disinformators.
But she is the first female police commissioner, so we have that identity stuff going on. Listen, again, I hate to keep
So
saying.
he's actually making fun of her for now. Identity politics is against. He's using it against the left. I mean, he would usually celebrate a female police commissioner.
Saying this, it doesn't. Some people I've spoken to, blanket don't condone murder, period. But they also kind of like Luigi Mangione, are not losing sleep over Brian Thompson. But Zaina, I cannot help but think they are this fiercely reprimanding the public. They want to be the thought police, scolding everybody because it's one of their own. It's a member of the elite that was killed. And whether this is all one big group of elite: the politicians, the police who protect the politicians and capital, the lobbyists, the donors.
Her name is Zainab Day. Is she Arab or Iranian? What is that? He is Jordan Chariton. I don't know what that is.
I certainly did not see any press conference like that when Eric Garner was strangled to death by the New York police. And name your. There was certainly no press conference.
I don't think he was strangled to death. I think he had a heart attack because he was very sick. He was a very sick individual, physically sick.
When police were.
What do you want the police to do when someone is a criminal? I mean, he was a criminal. What do you want the police to do? So you don't want the police to enforce the law? I don't understand these people. If somebody came to you right now and wanted to shoot you and execute you and murder you, you would want the police to protect you. And if you use self-defense, you'd expect a legal system to defend you. So I don't understand what do you want us to do? These people are just against. These are babies that don't think things through.
Acting as battering rams into pro-Palestine protesters. Beating the living hell out of them, which we covered. John Farina, my cameraman, covered. There's not been a talking down to by the New York, the NYPD that fierce for working people harmed or minorities harmed.
That's right, and I think that she said it all there. I mean, that diatribe spoke to their intent, and their intent is to send a chilling effect to anyone who will speak right now about the healthcare industry being able to label it as terrorism, just like the unfortunate arrest of the woman in Florida who dared to say, depose, deny, defend to.
She didn't say. She made a threat, right? She also got the message that terrorism wins, so she decided to continue the message. She also wanted to send a message. Okay, message received loud and clear, and now we're going to respond. We people, we adults, we representatives of civilization, we're going to respond. We're not going to accept this. This is unacceptable. And we're very sorry that you've been disinformed and you're spreading disinformation, but we have to stop it. This has to stop. This disinformation campaign has to stop. And this terrorism, you're trying to spread a message using terrorism. This has to stop. You want to talk, you can talk. You want to debate, you can debate. But if you're going to use violence to send a message instead of debating, instead of using an argument, these people, they don't want to use an argument. They don't argue. They just want to send a message of violence. They're like, it's too difficult. This is what that Luigi Mangione, that's what he said in his notebook. He said somebody else is going to argue this better than me. I'm not that good at arguing. He's not good at arguing. He's not good at arguing what he thought is a good message to send. It's a good message to send, but he doesn't know how to argue it. Literally, that's what he said. Some other people are better at presenting the argument. Really? Yeah, I'm going to just murder someone to send a message. I'm not going to actually go online and debate people and argue and run for political office. No. That's way too difficult. No, democracy, democracy is not for these people.
To an individual denying her claim.
The commies, they hate democracy. They claim to represent the people, and they cannot accept it that the people don't want They're communism. So they want to shove it down the throats of regular people by force. Because communism is such a terrific idea that the only way to spread it is at the end of a gun barrel. Such a terrific idea. What, you don't think it's a terrific idea? Well, I'm going to execute CEOs until you say that it's a terrific idea.
claim or call. So I think that that coupled with this is they're making an example out of him, and that way pundits can then for the next however long demonize anyone who has criticism of the healthcare industry and doesn't show mourning and remorse for the loss of Brian Thompson, or would show animosity toward the corporate world and their current agenda of exploitation.
Right. And I got to say, I mean,
Exploitation. That's Marxism. Exploitation. Exploitation. What does that even mean? I don't know what that means. What is exploitation? What, are you being exploited? Am I being exploited? Who is exploited? Who's that person that's being exploited? Are you exploiting me right now? Are you exploiting me? Because you're making a YouTube video? Because are you exploiting me? I could argue you're exploiting me. You're exploiting the fact that I have a few minutes free time. That's exploitation.
for those of you that are new here, and we got a lot of new subscribers, so welcome if you're new here. I mean, this kind of seems like it's starting now, but we've been covering stories where they might not be charging people with terrorism, but they're sure reinventing the law. I give you Steven Donziger, the human rights attorney, who successfully went after Chevron, the big oil company, who poisoned parts of the Amazon in Ecuador with oil. They got a lot of people sick there. People died. Donziger went after Chevron, won a historic judgment against Chevron for $9.5 billion. Excuse me, $9.5 million. And Chevron wouldn't actually pay the settlement. They used their money to go on a political corporate crusade against Donziger, which the U.S. courts, the judges had connections to Chevron, then put the lawyer under house arrest. So they didn't.
So the judges were connected to Chevron. Nothing but conspiracy theories. Everything for these people is a conspiracy. The judges conspired with Chevron. No less than that. So the judicial system is we don't have it. We don't have a judicial system. For them, everything is a conspiracy. So we live in this universe that everyone conspires against him. Maybe Zainab is conspiring right now against you. Maybe the guy that created this microphone conspired against you. Maybe your glasses are conspiring against you. What is this nonsense? This endless nonsense conspiracy. Everything is a conspiracy. Everyone is conspiring with everyone against everyone. Oh, it's a conspiracy.
Punished the company that poisoned water and land in Ecuador. They punished the lawyer. Now they didn't charge him as a terrorist, but they sure treated him like one.
Yeah, house arrest for 3 years.
Yes, and then on top of house arrest, they put him in jail. We know what happened with Julian Assange. So it doesn't really matter if you're on the left, if you're on the right.
He lost his licensure. For what? There was completely faulty charges.
So that was the police commissioner scolding all of you. We'll get back to that in a minute, but I want to zero in on the actual terrorism charges because
the police commissioner wasn't scolding all of us. Wasn't scolding me. I'm on her side. I would give my life happily to defend her life. She wasn't scolding me. She was scolding you. She was scolding anyone thinking that with violence you're going to spread your communism instead of arguing it like the rest of us using democracy.
And can I add something really quick? We've heard Trump talking about litigious activities to try him for whatever his supposed criminal acts were, and how the strong arm of the law is being used for political avarice. Then you've got avarice, and then you've got Joe Biden saying that Hunter Biden was targeted because he was his son. Well, aren't we seeing the litigious arm of the law being used right now in order to stamp out political conversations about the healthcare industry?
Absolutely.
Done to us, you will not hear someone like Donald Trump or Joe Biden.
What do you mean the litigious? We're not using litigation in order to stop you from speaking. Speak your mind, convince us of your communism, and when it comes time to vote, we'll decide if we want to vote for communism. I personally hate communism. I know plenty of people who hate communism, and I know people, I don't know personally, I guess there's some people who love communism. I don't know, maybe, I guess you people love it, fine. So we use democracy, and we each go and we vote, and we live in a democracy. But you guys, you hate democracy. You hate having to debate. You hate having to present an argument. Just like Luigi Mangione, he refused to say in his manifesto I'm not good at presenting the argument, but I'm good at killing people. So I'm just gonna go kill people, and somebody else is gonna make the argument. Yeah, what's the argument exactly? Who is gonna make the argument? Make the argument. Are you gonna make an argument? No, whatever. I mean, you can make an argument, and I've heard the arguments, and I don't like communism. I hate it. It's been tried, it's been theorized, and we know today it doesn't work. So you can create a commune. Why are you guys not living on a commune? Communism is so terrific. Go create a commune. If it's so terrific, why are there exactly 0.0 communes? Why? It's so terrific. It's the best thing ever. Then why aren't you moving to a commune or to a communistic state like North Korea? Oh, that's not real communism. I forgot. Yeah, there's never real communism.
Biden, criticize it. You'll hear them fact support it more than likely.
And Zainab, before I play the next clip, I would like to report another crime to you. Are you ready for this?
Oh no.
We have almost 1,000 people watching, but only 300 people have pressed the like button. What the hell is going on, folks? Smash that like button. The more people that press like, the more people that will see this. This is breaking news. Subscribe if you're new here, but press that like button. So, in addition to the heiress of the Tisch family, who is now the New York Police Commissioner, Jessica Tisch, in addition to her,
I don't know if that's true. You don't know if that's true. I mean, when you click the like button, all you're saying to YouTube is that you like it and you want to see more like this. And if you hate it, then maybe you don't want to see more like this. I don't know if you're saying something to anyone else. Maybe from this, the AI is going to figure out that people like me who like this, like other. Anyway, I don't know. It's feedback.
scolding you, the American people, for your shameful glee at the murder of a for-profit predatory healthcare CEO. The Manhattan District Attorney also spoke, and he was asked twice, can you kind of justify or explain the terrorism charges? Let's listen to his response.
So who is he? He is the DA? Look, he's brown skin. I'm so awed and inspired by these by these brown skinned people. This guy is a hero. What is he?
Explain the terrorism charges. For-profit predatory healthcare CEO. The Manhattan District Attorney also spoke, and he was asked twice, can you kind of justify or explain the terrorism charges? Let's listen to his response.
This is the Manhattan DA. I'm so honored. I'm so honored to see this person. This is so beautiful. This guy is a legit what do you call it? Oh, I keep forgetting words. American. That's not the word. There's a different word I wanted to use.
Sure. So, in its most basic terms, this was a killing that is intended to evoke terror, and we've seen
exactly. Yeah, done. So he's gonna try this as a domestic terrorism act. That's beautiful.
in that reaction. The statutory elements we can go into, but its most basic term. That's what this is. This was not
Yeah, this is the most basic terminology.
ordinary killing. Not to suggest that any killing is ordinary, but this was extraordinary, and the New York State Legislature has set out both the path that we talked about, both murder one and murder two, and this we allege is certainly squarely within those statutes we talk about.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful.
Intending to do exactly what we saw happen.
Exactly.
What? He didn't say anything. He talked about the
He
reaction.
didn't say anything. He's literally risking his life. This is like the original founding fathers that created the United States, that with their signature on the Declaration of Independence, they risked their lives. They put their own lives on the line when they signed the Declaration of Independence. So too are these two risking their lives by standing here and speaking against Luigi Mangione. Right? If you take the side of these two crying babies, you're not risking your life. No one is going to come after these two crying babies, these two disinformed babies. No one is going to come after them to hurt them. But if we know that people are going to come after them to hurt them. There is an asymmetry. This is why we're doomed mathematically. There's an asymmetry because these guys are risking their lives standing here, and these guys are not risking their lives.
To it, you can't charge an individual or the public reaction to what he did. It's not within.
No one is charging the public reaction.
It's not within Luigi's control how the public reacted.
So,
So why did he do it? What was the intent? What was the purpose of murdering a CEO? What was the purpose?
a couple things. And he's going to say this later. You know what? Before I respond, let's play the other clip. So there's another clip where he's asked again about the terrorism charges, and he elaborates more. Let's play that, Colin.
Sure, and my point, I mean, the statute talks about intents to influence or coerce a civilian population. The statute talks about intending to influence a policy of government. It talks about
Exactly. This is terrorism.
seeking to put forth things similar to that by murder.
So communists cannot argue, and they're lazy. They're lazy babies. They're lazy, disinformed babies. They can never make a coherent argument. As Luigi Mangione said in his manifesto, I'm not going to make the argument. I don't know how to make the argument. Somebody else is going to make the argument. Right now, I'm going to just send the message. What's the message? You better listen to us. Listen to you saying what? That's it. You just listen to us. What's the argument? Well, somebody else is going to make the argument. Okay, so we're going to send the message back. You use terrorism when that's not going to work. That's not going to be good for you. It's not going to be good for you. Don't do it.
The statute, plain language of the statute is clear. Obviously, we charge it. The grand jury's voted on it. We need to go for it and prove it. But I think it does help to take a step back and think about the proof in the case, some of the writings. I'm not going to get into too much of that, but and the actual reaction. In the middle of Midtown, the beginning of a busy day, tourists, commuters, business people. The intent was to
So a few things. Number one, he mentioned the manifesto, right? First of all, the manifesto. In terms of manifestos of supposed terrorists, this one was probably the most sane, calm ones I've read. It was very short. He stated some healthcare statistics. He also apologized to the police. In the manifesto, he actually complimented law enforcement, stating, for the most part, you do a commendable job. I'm paraphrasing. Secondly, I don't know many domestic terrorists or terrorists, period, that in the notes they found in his notebook, he said, first I was thinking about bombing the conference. This was the investor conference that Brian Thompson was set to speak at for United Healthcare. But I chose instead to do a targeted shooting because I didn't want to kill innocents. The point of terrorism, I don't care if it's foreign, domestic, is to kill as many people as you can. That's in part what creates terror.
No, that's not the definition of terrorism. The definition of terrorism is to terrorize. That's the definition. So this is terrorizing because right away you saw the reaction of all the CEOs that took down all the profiles and and stuff like that. So and you saw the public reaction that they wanted to come after the CEOs. This created the intended effect of terrorizing. So it's terrorism. You don't need to want to blow up the universe in order to be defined as a terrorist. As many people as possible, that means the universe.
I don't care if it's foreign, domestic, here, but I chose instead to do a targeted shooting because I didn't want to kill innocents. The point of terrorism, I don't care if it's foreign, domestic, is to kill as many people as you can.
That means destroy the universe. So according to you, only if you want to try to destroy the visible and the invisible universe, only then is it terrorism. Okay.
That's in part what creates terror. It is right.
That's what creates terror. That you want to destroy the universe. Less than that, it doesn't create terror. I'm not terrorized if you don't want to destroy the universe.
Again, even if you don't agree with him shooting Brian Thompson, and plenty of people don't. They agree. Plenty of people, you can have two thoughts at once. You don't agree with going around gunning down people, but you understand the outrage. I personally don't agree with going around gunning down CEOs because I think it will come back on us tenfold. Not twofold, tenfold. If we start going around vigilante justice, trust me, you think what they did after 9/11 with the Patriot Act and taking away your civil liberties, that'll be nothing compared to what they will do if we start having mass.
So that's why it's important for Luigi Mangione to be tried as a domestic terrorist. We need to send the message that you babies cannot misbehave. Make an argument. You can create a YouTube video, a YouTube channel. You can do anything you want as long as you argue in a civil way. That's fine. But as soon as you're not civil, that's where we have to take your rights away, unfortunately. So behave, and everything will be fine.
vigilante justice. You can say, well, Jordan, look, this started a conversation and awoke a sleeping giant. It certainly did. But I am telling you, and we're already starting to see the ramifications of them charging him as a terrorist. It will be reversed on us, and they'll start charging you. They'll start charging people who open up a lemonade stand, looking if they look at the cops the wrong way as
They're
terrorists.
already
You don't leave us a choice. See, we can give you babies, disinformed babies, we can give you as many rights as possible, right up until you misbehave. Then we have to stop giving you rights, and we have to start taking away your freedoms. You don't leave us a choice.
they're already doing that. They're already doing that. I mean, we have, as we mentioned, the woman in Florida, Breonna Boston. She was arrested for domestic threatening, for terroristic
One
threatening.
second, let me get this message. La la.
For simply saying deny, defend, oppose on call with an insurance representative. And she didn't threaten them. She was frustrated because her claim was denied, and she simply said deny, defend, oppose. And it was reported, and the cop showed up at her house, and they wheeled her in and arrested her. This can completely ruin this woman's life. They used her as an example, and they're using Luigi as an example, and it's to set a chilling effect on all of us. And
Yes, right. Luigi Mangione, he wanted to send us a message. All right, so we got the message, and now we want to send a message back. Don't do that. That's it. No, he sent us a message. We're sending a message back. That's it. Very simple, straightforward.
And I think
Not complicated.
I think she really poses the example here. I mean, but we've also seen similar charges be pressed and be implemented to against pro-Palestine protesters, as we had talked about yesterday, and we may speak about again a little bit, against Cop City protesters, against Stop Cop City protesters, against we saw them during the George Floyd protest. This is not new, and it is scary because I feel like it's escalating. Do you feel that way, Jordan?
Well, yeah, I was about to say, first of all, as we discussed yesterday, they were already charging peaceful protesters down in Atlanta who were protesting Cop City, which we covered on the ground. Tina Desiree Berg and John Farina, my cameraman, they went down there twice. They were charging people who were holding signs as domestic terrorists. They were charging people who ran from the police as domestic terrorists. And I don't really, I don't blame people for running from the police because they literally shot and killed an unarmed protester down there. If you're new here, you might not know anything about this because the corporate media barely reported. The Atlanta politicians, Democrats, were literally cutting down pristine forests.
So the corporate media failed to report it. So the corporate media are also in on this conspiracy. Nothing but conspiracies with these guys. It's turtles all the way down. Everything is a conspiracy. Everything is a conspiracy. It's not possible that people actually have an agenda. I actually have an agenda. I actually like civilization. I actually don't like it when a CEO is gunned down. I don't care who the CEO is. You don't gun down a CEO. That's not acceptable. If you do that, we're going to react. One second, let me charge my phone. Luigi Mangione. Luigi.
In Atlanta to build a militarized police compound that was going to be doing cross-training with Israel's IDF. There was no reason for this, and there was protests for 2 years, peaceful protests, to stop the cutting down of this forest. And once it started getting national attention, they shot an unarmed protester named Tortuguita. Then they lied and said the protester was shooting at the cops first. Forensic evidence showed they shot this protester with the protester's hands up, and there was 56 gunshot wounds, I believe, on the protester.
Yes,
and then
we may cover this, but as of today, just a few minutes ago, just before we came on air, Jordan, the family of Tortuguita has filed.
I think that what the police do usually is if one officer shoots, then everyone shoots. This is the same concept of a firing squad. Why do we have firing squads when we execute someone? Why is there a firing squad? I think the reason is so that you can never know who actually shot and killed you, right? Some of the people in the firing squad are going to actually want to miss the target, and some are not. So you're never going to know who actually committed the execution. I think that's the idea. It's not one person. You can never blame a single person. It's basically unknown who these people are. A firing squad is just a bunch of normal police or whatever, soldiers. The same goes for the police. When one police officer starts shooting someone, then the rest of the police are gonna unload everything they have on the suspect. I think the idea is that they don't want one guy to take the blame, so that if the guy's filled with bullets, okay, it's everyone fired. What are you going to do? You're going to accuse 10, 20, 30 police officers of executing a guy, that's going to be very difficult. So I think that's the reason why police, when one starts firing, the rest of them, they finish it off.
A lawsuit against the Georgia police for
Right.
for the shooting.
So you have that. Then after that you started seeing more protests down there against this, and they started. They charged dozens of people with domestic terrorism. We interviewed one of them. I mean, people were languishing in jail for weeks. They didn't even know they didn't even have official charges against them. They were not allowed to speak with lawyers. This is the kind of stuff you hear about in countries that America says are authoritarian, that America says are autocrats or part of the evil axis. Part of what America says is why Russia is so scary and China is so scary is because this is how their legal systems work. They're doing some of that stuff here. So now they're going to charge Mangione with domestic terrorism. All right, well, what happens then?
So you're comparing Russia to the United States? The two legal systems, you're comparing them? Okay, again, the conspiracy theory. So the the US legal system is just as bad as the Chinese and the Russian. Okay. Again, remind me, why are you not moving to Russia if it's just as bad?
If we start having protesters outside BlackRock, if somebody I don't know, yells at a BlackRock CEO walking out, or even throws something at executives, you're going to charge them with domestic terrorism?
What do you mean if he throws something? If you're if you're trying to terrorize, you're going to be accused of terrorism.
If people protest, we saw the protest at Standing Rock. We saw the protest to get rid of Line 3 pipeline, Keystone XL. Things were thrown. There was fires started. You're going to start charging them as domestic terrorists because they are blocking what police and politicians call
fires were started. Are you going to blame us for terrorism, for starting a fire? Everybody knows starting a fire is completely benevolent. Nothing bad ever happened from people starting fires. Hold on, give me 1 minute. Okay, 1 second. All right.
critical infrastructure, or they're trying.
Unions protesting could be next. That could be on the block to be charged with terrorism if you're, if they can label anything you say as something particularly uncouth or your signs, they could be charging workers with domestic terrorism charges for their free speech.
Also, it seems to be a bit of a redefining because Alvin Bragg, the DA, was talking about trying to terrorize or instill fear in citizens. Well, it sure seems to be that they're prioritizing the fear of a certain class of citizens over.
That was Bragg? That's Bragg? That's Alvin Bragg? Wait a minute. Oh my God. Was that Alvin Bragg? Oh my God. Oh my God. That's the same guy who's trying to take down Trump. That's so funny. Oh my God. That is funny.
Another class, because in his explanation of terrorism, and he also talks about it, explaining why the first-degree murder charges. You know what? Let's play that, Colin, the part where he talks about why he's being charged with first-degree murder. Let's play that.
Well, I want to echo the commissioner's words, concerns, which I think we'll put forward beautifully. We see a lot in these jobs. I meet with the families of homicide victims, and I just can't wrap my head around the notion that someone is celebrating this. To your specific question, we're at the beginning of litigation now with our charge. We have a phenomenal trial team in place, led by ADA Bill Seidman, who has been in this office for more than 4 years and handled some very challenging matters.
So that wasn't the specific one I wanted, but again, this goes to Donald Trump yesterday saying, I don't get it. I don't get why people are praising Mangione. Same thing with the district attorney. I can't wrap my head around it because all these people, obviously they're not going to cheer for Mangione. The nature of their jobs will be against it. These people don't have to worry about healthcare. They don't have to worry about paying for surgeries or medical bills or this and that.
Okay, so these people don't need to be reelected? Aren't these people up for election? Don't these people run for government? Don't we live in a democracy? What do you mean they don't care? So democracy just doesn't exist. So these people are just trying to protect their own self-interest, direct self-interest. They don't care about the voters. So I don't get it. How do you? I don't understand it.
They have great insurance, they have great pensions, or they're rich like Trump. So
They don't have the same
But they need to run for elections. These people are publicly elected.
kind of fears we have. The fears that
These people have political aspirations. That's the beauty of democracy. These people have to answer to the people.
are among the ruling class, among the oligarchs, are fears that that there will be
These are just babies. These two people are just babies. Like, you don't understand anything?
uprising.
Right.
They fear the poor. They fear the people that they're exploiting.
Absolutely. And remember to smash that like button. We got 1,300 people watching, 800
What
likes.
do you mean they fear the poor? It's a democracy. They want to, right? At the end of the day, you want to improve the lives of the most people according to how you see, how you understand reality.
So we need another about 400, 500 people to press that like button. Please subscribe if you're new here and leave super chat.
If these people were just aiming to help themselves, then how could they ever hope to have any political aspirations?
If you can, we will read them at the end. Also,
Notice all the free pounds. Well, it doesn't scroll up. Free Palestine. It's the same disinformation campaign with the Free Palestine. What do you mean Free Palestine? You want to make Palestine economically free? I'm all for that. I wish Palestine, I wish any place in the world would be economically free.
I want to give a shout out because it's part of
politically free. You want to make Palestine a real democracy? I wish.
our new subscribers. We just passed 300,000.
Unfortunately, when you gave Gaza a democracy, they voted in Hamas. Unfortunately.
Subscribers over the weekend. Now we're at 302,000, so we're still moving in the right direction. We're getting new paid members, which is very crucial. Mangione might actually be extradited to New York as early as Thursday. And if he is, we're going to be there on the ground. We want to cover this on the ground. We assume there will be protests.
Palestine flag.
Isn't there?
Yeah, I don't know.
So we're going to cover this every step of the way, and we need your help to do that. So if you can, support us. Statuscoup.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5 a month. As far as I know, we're one of the only independent outlets in America.
So it's a conspiracy. It's the whole world. You're basically the only ones who actually have the truth. It's not like somebody else also knows the truth.
On the ground. We're not just sitting in a studio bloviating at our assholes. We're on the ground covering what's important. We've been covering the fight for Medicare for all, the fight against for-profit predatory healthcare systems for years.
For-profit. Oh, profit is so terrible because you don't do anything for profit. Profit is just so terrible. You don't need an income. You don't want your mic to be of high quality. You don't want high quality AirPods. You don't want high quality glasses. You don't want to have a high quality chair, a high quality studio. No, you don't want to have a high quality life. You want to live in the jungle, of course, because that's where you live. You live in the jungle. Everybody sees you living in the jungle.
So please support us, statuscoup.com, and shout out new Status Coup members: Kim, Dwayne, Sabina, hope I pronounced that right, Stephanie, and Sherry. All right, so here's the clip I wanted to play you because we heard from Greg. It didn't make sense, but his explanation for the terrorism charges. I think this is even worse. Listen to his explanation for the first-degree murder charge.
The first-degree murder statute has a number of subsections. They're sort of clearly delineated, and they are reserved for the most abhorrent conduct, killing a police officer, serial killing, and the terrorism is one subsection of that. And so, fortunately, that's not happening a lot. Taking a step back, I can't think of another office that is more equipped to handle a terrorism charge. We have a great terrorism unit. We were at the forefront of getting the statute passed. Within the last 2 years, we've tried two very significant terrorism cases, one involving an English-speaking operative based in Jamaica, and another involving someone who was here in funding.
Am I in the Twilight Zone? Did he just equate, the most serious cases, killing a police officer, a serial killer? And there's been a lot of serial killers. Son of Sam in New York City. He's comparing the CEO, whose salary was $10 million, who was overseas.
Why is it relevant? The salary of the victim. How is that relevant? How is that relevant? I don't understand. What is the logic of this guy? What is the logic? That is the most irrelevant. That's the first point you're bringing up. How is it terrorism when the victim was making $10 million a year? That can't be terrorism. The victim was making $10 million a year. That's not terrorism. That's your logic?
Seeing the deployment of artificial intelligence to deny more people care. He's comparing that guy.
Deploying artificial intelligence? Therefore, it cannot be terrorism because the victim was about to deploy an AI? You don't think what you're doing uses AI? So you're against AI? Anyone who uses AI is now a legitimate victim and we can just go around nilly-willy executing them? Shooting them in the back?
With the cherished class of victims like killing a cop or victims of a serial killer? It sure seems like they're putting corporate CEOs on a much bigger pedestal because hell, Eric Garner strangled to death on a curb in New York City. What was he doing? Selling stray cigarettes? His officer wasn't even charged, let alone domestic terrorism. So they're clearly telling you that they consider the capitalist class, the CEO of United Healthcare, on par with killing a cop. Killing one of the elites is on par with killing a cop.
But you have to decide, right? Luigi Mangione, he wanted to send a message, right? Right, you agree that he wanted to send a message. Why are you covering this? Because he wanted to send a message that the health insurance companies are just so terrible. They're just so terrible, right? So you agree that there is a message.
Something as serious as a serial killer who, in many cases, we know the worst serial killers, they raped young children, they killed young kids. We know serial killers, there were serial killers who went after specifically young women. He's comparing or equating, he's basically saying killing a rich person is the same as killing a cop. Do I have that wrong?
Nothing to do with being a rich person. Nothing to do with that. It just so happens that he selected the victim in order to send a message. That was the purpose. It was to send a message to the CEO class. Yeah, that's called terrorism. All right. Got it. Got the message. Listen to me. We got your message. And now we have a message back. Now you listen to us. So we're going to try this as domestic terrorism. That's it. You do that, we'll do that. So you keep that up, we'll keep that up. So it's up to you. You want to misbehave like a baby? You want to behave like a little baby that doesn't understand how the world runs, how the world works? You want to break down civilization because you've been disinformed? Because you cannot make a coherent argument, as Luigi Mangione said in his manifesto. I cannot make this argument. I don't know how to make this argument. There's other people who are better equipped at making this argument. But I can go kill a CEO. I can send a message. All right. So you don't want to argue. You want to just send a message? Okay, fine. You do that, we'll do that. We're going to have you don't want to have a non-violent conversation. You want to have a violent conversation. You want to see who is stronger. All right, it's between a baby and a parent. I'm the last one to support violence, but when a baby becomes dangerous, that's when you have to use violence against a baby. If you have to restrain a baby, if the baby picks up a knife and tries to stab you, that's when you have to take the knife away from the baby. You have to restrain the baby. You have to use force against the baby. Sorry, we're not going to just let the baby destroy civilization. And you're misbehaving like a little baby. You don't want to have a debate. You don't want to have a conversation. You don't want to present an argument, as Luigi Mangione said in his manifesto. You don't want to present an argument. You don't know how to make the argument. Okay, you want to just use violence. All right, then we have to restrain you.
Wrong.
No, and one thing that's shocking to me is that there are a lot of murders every year. The murder rate's gone down overall nationally, so that's good. But there are murders every year that are motivated by a million different things. And
there's murders that are motivated by a million different things. This is just another murder. It's just another murder. It's just another murder. It's no big deal. It's just another murder.
to utilize this motivation in this way to label it domestic terrorism, feels odd, because if someone shoots their boss.
This is so delicious. I need to have a big bowl of popcorn for this. This is so delicious. These two babies, look at her face. She's like, I don't know what's going on. Why would they convert this simple murder into a terrorism act? That's so weird. I don't know how this can be. This is so weird. This is bewildering. Why are they doing this?
Let's say because they were fired from work. That would be horrible. Any kind of murder is. But if someone were to do that, would that be considered terrorism? Typically not. That's something that happens. That's something that does happen. I've never seen them label that terrorism. There's a thousand.
That's a good point. If somebody is fired and they come back and they murder their boss, can you consider that an act of terrorism? I might. If the message was, if they wanted to send a message, don't fire people nilly-willy. If you want to send a message, if your idea of sending a message is by killing people, yeah, that's terrorism. So you're going to be tried as a domestic terrorist. That's my opinion. If you're trying to send a message, then that's terrorism. When what you're doing is sending a message, then that, right? Because if I go rob, and while robbing I end up killing someone, I'm not trying to send a message. If I have a girlfriend and she leaves me and takes another guy and I go and I kill him, I'm not sending if I'm trying to send a message, don't leave me, yeah, then that's terrorism. Anytime the murder is because I want to send a message, then I think that has to be tried as terrorism, which means I would say execution. You have to be executed. The message back to the messenger has to be, okay, we got the message. This has to stop.
Instances we could consider like this. At the end of the day, and what was the name of the lady that was on before?
Jessica Tisch, who, by the way, Zayna, I got a little factoid from my cameraman who's off camera right now. He's too shy to come on camera. But do you know that Jessica Tisch, the police commissioner who was scolding all of the people that are gleeful over the murder of Brian Thompson, do you know what her job was before she was elevated to the New York City police commissioner?
Oh, what was it?
Again, ad hominem. That's not how you make an argument. You have an hour and 35 minutes to present an argument. You're not presenting an argument. An ad hominem is not an argument.
She was the head of the New York City sanitation department.
So now he's going to go for for the same conspiracy theory that the only reason she is the police commissioner is because her dad is a billionaire or something.
Now, no offense to my sanitation friends. I know a lot of people in sanitation. Great job. How do you go from the head of the sanitation department to the head of the NYPD? Other than the fact that your dad is an oligarch billionaire, Jonathan Tisch, who was bought up.
That's the only way. The only way to go from head of sanitation to police commissioner is because your dad is a billionaire. There's no other way. Simply no other way. You heard her speaking. I mean, obviously the girl, she doesn't know what she's doing. Obviously, it's just because her dad is a billionaire. These babies, nothing but disinformation, nothing but conspiracy theories. Everything is a conspiracy theory. Does anything ever happen in the universe, I'm wondering, that is not part of a conspiracy theory? That's what I'm wondering.
All the politicians, including New York City Eric Adams. Make that make sense to me. And this woman wants to scold the masses over, praising Luigi Mangione. You were literally running the garbage department 5 minutes before you were appointed to the head of the NYPD. Again, I don't have a problem with a woman being NYPD commissioner, but what are your qualifications to run the NYPD?
Oh, what? What are your qualifications? So, okay, but anyway, that's literally ad hominem. Why is that important? Listen to what she's saying. Do you have anything to say against what she said? Why is it important who she is, her qualifications? How is that even relevant?
Other than your last name, Tisch. I digress. I will point out, Zayna, it's
Well, they're in
definitely...
a club, but we're not in it, Jordan.
Yes, as George Carlin once said, it's a big club and you're not in it. I will point out, we've already seen examples of this slippery slope in the form of censorship. So censorship, there was in about 2018, 2019, definitely 2020 after January 6th, which status quo if you're new here. If you're new, that footage of the cop's head rammed into the door, that was my cameraman who got that historic footage. And he, here, censorship, there was in about 20, we've already seen examples of this slippery slope in the form of censorship. So censorship, there was in about 2018.
So these guys are talking about censorship. So they love their freedoms and they use their freedoms to murder CEOs. That's how they use their freedoms. Instead of trying to make a coherent argument. No, you cannot. No. That's too much hard work. As Luigi Mangione said in his manifesto. No. I don't know how to make the argument. I don't know how to. Somebody else is going to make the. There's people who are better at making the argument than me. I'm not good at making the argument. I'm just going to send the message. The message is I'm going to just execute a CEO.
2019, definitely 2020 after January 6th, which status quo if you're new here. If you're new, that footage of the cop's head rammed into the door, that was my cameraman who got that historic footage. And he nearly broke his ribs as the Trump posse was on top of him, but he still got that shot of the cop's head rammed into the door. And YouTube literally took down the footage from our live stream on January 6th. They took down, we had 30,000 people watching live. If they would have never taken that down from our channel at this point, what would you say, 30, 40 million? It probably would have been at views. We would have 30, 40 million views. I tell you this not for pity for us, even though it is fucked up that they took it down, but censorship, they took it down from our channel citing we were advancing false claims of election fraud. No, we were a news outlet covering the mob, covering the attempted coup. Sorry, MAGA, it was an attempted coup. It was. But the point is, and we licensed it to CNN and other outlets who then uploaded it on their channel using our footage. They were allowed to keep it up. I tell you this because with censorship, there might be people that you think are dangerous and you think shouldn't have a platform. But when you give Google or Twitter or Mark Zuckerberg or name your Silicon Valley oligarch or cable or corporate media, if you give them license to start censoring people, then it immediately gets reversed onto the people that actually do the work, like independent journalists, like freelance journalists that cover protests, and they could make up any reason they want to censor you. This is happening in America, and it happens around the world. Same principle here.
3 days ago, Jordan, 2 NYU professors were arrested at pro-Palestine protests. Those are still happening at NYU in New York. Two were arrested, and there were 3 that were banned from the NYU campus for exercising their First Amendment rights and protesting. Non-violent, just
First Amendment right in a private campus doesn't exist. First Amendment right, freedom of expression, that's before government. But before a private university, you don't have that. So it's a private campus. The private campus can do whatever they want on their private campus.
simply standing with students. They were at a permitted protest, arrested and banned. The two that were arrested and it's 3 total, were all Jewish. And that was just a couple of days ago. So there is a chilling effect against protest, against people protesting. It's appalling to ban 3 professors who are Jewish from the campus, and let alone for the university to implement the police to have them arrested at a permitted protest.
Right. But the reason I brought up the censorship example is for every person you might want them to censor, you might, like, for example, I think Alex Jones is pretty damn dangerous. I think in many cases, Alex Jones has actually inspired people to go get their guns. There are clips with him saying there's going to be a civil war, get your guns, right? But if you take Alex Jones off, well, they could then just reinvent the definition and take off, me for kind of sounding like I'm supporting Luigi Mangione, kind of sounding like I'm, quote, inciting a riot. Hell, I was at Standing Rock. They were arresting journalists, claiming the journalists were helping to, quote, incite a riot by live streaming it. By the way, they did the same thing in the 1960s during the Vietnam War protests. If you read Hunter Thompson's writing, the great Hunter S. Thompson, he covered the 1968 DNC convention, that wild scene in Chicago as the police were cracking down on Vietnam protesters outside the Democratic National Convention. And they were arresting people with inciting a riot back then. So not a lot has changed. And these were peaceful protesters. Mayor Daley, for you older folks watching, you know the story. Mayor Daley basically told the Chicago PD, shoot first, ask questions later. So I bring this up because charging Mangione, even if you don't condone the actual act of going and killing the CEO, even if you don't condone that, by charging him with domestic terrorism, it's going to be a domino effect from there. If you protest a pipeline, if you protest BlackRock, hell, there's going to be Amazon workers on strike before Christmas. We're going to go cover it this weekend. Again, as far as I know, we're the only independent. We don't take any money from United Healthcare, Aetna, Cigna, Goldman Sachs, Pfizer, the fossil fuckers, none of that. We're going to go cover the Amazon workers that are going to be on strike in Staten.
So you're not monetized? So you don't monetize the stream? You don't take money from Google, from YouTube? How can I tell if they're monetized? Well, it says here join, right? This join, it's monetized. They're monetized. Of course they're monetized. $6.90 a month through YouTube. $11.90, $79.90. So you're monetized. Why do you claim to not be in cahoots with the corporations? You are the corporation. Look me in the eyes. You are now the corporations. These guys are corporate America, but they live in denial.
An Island this weekend. We'll be on the ground covering that. Hey, if there's violence, right? If police start getting rough with workers, and let's say a policeman is injured or a protester throws something at cops, you're going to start charging domestic terrorism? By the way, domestic terrorism, you charge domestic terrorism and you are successful, I mean, you're looking at 30 years in prison, maybe longer. So it's serious business, charging domestic terrorism. You don't want to casually charge that. But I think it's very dangerous. And again, and we don't have the clip. Hopefully we'll get it for tomorrow. CNN.
Interesting. You could tell where she lives by the view outside her window. So she removed, she defocused the background, I think.
After this press conference, CNN had guests on. There was a law enforcement official who actually said, I think the terrorism charge is an overreach. So at least somebody on CNN, maybe they were going against, maybe they'll get a slap on the wrist for it. They said the terrorism charge is an overreach. I don't really know how you could charge this as a terrorist because he shot him in the back, but he wasn't trying to hurt more than one person. Again, his notes, I'm reading to you from his notes that they found. He said, I was thinking about a bomb, but then I thought differently and chose to shoot him because it's, quote, it's targeted, precise, and doesn't risk innocence. What kind of terrorist says I don't want to risk innocence? Now, again, Zaina, some people might say, well, Thompson was innocent. I don't think he was innocent, but some people think that. But I don't know many terrorists that don't want to inflict as many deaths as possible.
So you don't think Thompson was innocent? All right. So make the argument. Make an argument. Go argue. Let's debate.
Also interesting because Jessica Tish.
But instead of debating, instead of actually making an argument, these people just want to use violence.
Was using examples such as the
communism is such a terrific idea that you need violence in order to spread it. It's so terrific. It's just the best thing.
The individuals that have a deck of cards, T-shirts. She was showing posters in talking about the indictment of Luigi Mangione. You can't bring that into court. That's not something that they can utilize for this indictment. Is the public response? It would be interesting to see if they try that, but that would be unprecedented. How are they going to charge him with someone else's response to his actions?
Right.
And on top of that, is she suggesting that those are they suggesting that those individuals who made the cards, who are making these social media posts?
I mean, it is evidence. It's evidence. You can, it's up to a jury to decide if if the evidence supports the claim. You need to look at the legal statute. You need to read the law. What does the law say? I mean, if the reaction, you could present it as evidence.
Or terrorists.
Accomplices.
Mhm.
It's crazy. And I think the Manhattan District Attorney gave it away. I think he gave away the mindset. And I also think they are getting a lot of pressure. These are elected officials. The District Attorney is an elected official. The Attorney General of the states is elected. Obviously, the mayor, the governor. And who's funding them?
No, I think it's because of the reflection, or maybe it's automatic.
United Healthcare, Pfizer, Wall Street. On this day, Governor Kathy Hochul, Zaina, you and I went through it yesterday. We talked about
Wall Street. That means basically every American corporation to him is guilty.
it. She's holding a big conference call with like 175 corporate executives and corporate CEOs. They won't tell you which ones. The corporations don't want to tell you which corporations are participating. She's holding a Zoom call with almost 200 corporate CEOs and executives to calm their nerves. And I quote from Politico.
You know who she's not holding a Zoom call with? All the people impacted.
Who is she?
Governor Kempton, obviously the mayor, the governor. And who's funding them?
Mhm.
It's crazy. And I think the Manhattan District Attorney gave it away. I think he gave away the mindset. And I also think they are getting a lot of pressure. These are elected officials. The District Attorney is an elected official. The Attorney General of the states is elected.
So the DA is okay. Is the police commissioner elected? Is the Manhattan police commissioner an elected position? I doubt it. Not a separate entity, as Manhattan is a borough within New York City, and the New York City Police Department is responsible for law enforcement across all 5 boroughs. The head of the New York NYPD is the New York City Police Commissioner. I don't get it. By the mayor. Okay, so it's an appointment by the mayor. Okay, but it's it's indirect democracy.
Obviously the mayor, the governor. And who's funding them? United Healthcare, Pfizer, Wall Street.
Who's
on this
funding who?
way.
I don't get
I think
it.
he gave away the mindset. And I also think they are getting a lot of pressure. These are elected officials. The District Attorney is an elected official. The Attorney General of the states is elected. Obviously the mayor, the governor. And who's funding them? United Healthcare, Pfizer, Wall Street. On this day,
What do you mean who's funding them? I don't understand.
Governor Kathy Hochul, Zaina, you
Oh, you mean for the campaign donations? Okay.
and I went through it yesterday. We talked about it. She's holding a big conference call with like 175
Who is?
officials. The Attorney General of the states is elected. Obviously the mayor, the governor. And who's funding them? United Healthcare, Pfizer, Wall Street. On this day, Governor Kathy Hochul, Zaina, you and I went through it yesterday. We talked about it. She's holding a big conference call with like 175.
Oh, the governor of New York City? Who is the governor of New York State? Kathy. No, that's Joe Biden. How do we get Joe Biden for an image? That's her. She looks good. Why only one image? Governor Hochul. No, she's not hot. Okay.
5 corporate executives and corporate CEOs. They won't tell you which ones. The corporations don't want to tell you which corporations are participating. She's holding a Zoom call with almost 200 corporate CEOs and executives to calm their nerves. And I quote from Politico.
You know who she's not holding a Zoom call with? All the people impacted that have been talking about how screwed over they are by the health insurance company. She's not doing a town hall right now in the state of New York to talk about federally subsidized healthcare as a human right. Instead, she's taking your time that you elected her for, New Yorkers, your tax dollars, and having a press conference with a bunch of scared CEOs.
You know, it's interesting. I want to read to you because after our live stream yesterday, I got a text from an activist in Buffalo where I've reported on the ground before, and told me, Kathy Hochul, the New York.
But this is democracy. What do you want us to do? This is democracy. You don't like democracy. All right. Go live in North Korea. Go live in China. Even Russia. Find your favorite country, go live there. Go live in Iran. There's plenty of dictatorships on the planet. You don't like, there's very few democracies. You don't like a democracy, you don't have to be here.
New York governor who's politically prostituting herself today. I said politically prostituting herself to 175 corporate CEOs to calm their nerves. And they're even discussing possibly having a special hotline for worried corporate CEOs, where corporate CEOs and corporate executives and corporate workers could phone into the hotline their worries if somebody looks at them wrong. Or,
and then they can request state subsidized policing to come and be basically their security.
Right.
Our
That makes perfect sense.
tax
So-
dollars will pay for that for a multi-billion-dollar company.
right. And by the way, we have 1,500 people watching, so smash the like button so we can get more people watching. I'm going to read this to you because after my live stream, an activist from Buffalo messaged me. You remember that shooting at the Top supermarket, which happened, I believe, in 2023, I think it was? This was a racist, a white supremacist drove several hours to basically shoot up black people in Buffalo in a supermarket. Was 2022? Yeah, 2022. I think 10 people died, if I'm correct. That was to be a terrorist attack. Well, apparently, Kathy Hochul, right after the corporate CEO, so after Brian
Okay, if that's to you a terrorist attack, whatever. I mean, was he trying to send a message? Why did he do, if there is a message involved, if you're trying to terrorize people, then you're a terrorist. I agree. I don't have a problem with charging more people with domestic terrorism. If it falls under the statute, then okay, fine. I'm pro civilization.
Thompson is killed. She's on Zoom calls with corporate CEOs. She's having a special hotline possibly set up for worried corporate CEOs. The district attorney in New York going to charge.
So I don't understand. On one hand, you're so happy that Luigi Mangione sent a message, and you're so happy that the message has been sent. You're so happy the message has been sent, and it's loud and clear. Listen, now you listen to us. Listen to us. You're happy. All right. So the message has been sent, and people are now reacting to the message. And now you're so upset. Oh, they're listening to the message. We sent them a message to be fearful of us, the people, and now they're worried. They got the message and they're acting upon the message. Yeah. Why are you upset? You sent the message. People got the message. Good. Well, why are you so confused?
Mangione is a terrorist. Do you know that 2 years after that massacre, where I think it was 10 people were killed at the Buffalo supermarket, I was told by Buffalo activists that no, they didn't even set up any type of preventative measures. The cops, there's no hey, what's our emergency protocol? Because after these situations, a lot of times they kind of look at, do we have an emergency protocol set up in the event of a mass shooting or something like this? They said there is not even a see something, say something protocol that was set up after a mass shooting in Buffalo, where, by the way, Governor Kathy Hochul is from Buffalo. So apparently, if minorities, I believe it was majority of people dead there were black in Buffalo, if they're massacred, we don't need to have an urgent hotline set up. We don't need to charge, we don't need to have Zoom calls with 175 black people, black citizens, but we do need to have an immediate Zoom call with 175 corporate CEOs. By the way, part of the reporting in that, the reason that they want to have.
I'm the last one to object to such a case being charged as domestic terrorism. If the murderer intended to send a message, some sort of message, he wanted basically to terrorize the public. If that's what he's trying to do, then sure, it's domestic terrorism. Then argue for that incident to have been or to be charged as domestic terrorism.
This special hotline and have a Zoom meeting with these corporate CEOs.
It's so funny. These people were so happy in the first couple of days. We sent the message, and we sent the message. We sent the message. We sent the message, and then finally, the politicians, they got the message, and they're sitting and thinking, wait a minute, they're trying to send a message. That's terrorism. They're trying to terrorize us. Instead of using democracy, they're using terrorism. So how about we charge them for terrorism? You're not allowed to do that. You can't do that. Send them a message. Tell them we got the message, and here is the message back. Don't do that. And now they're so upset. Oh, they got the message, and they're treating us like as if we tried to send a message. Yeah, you try to send a message. We got the message. Message received.
They're afraid that the companies are going to leave New York.
You know what? Maybe I should go to PNR. La 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 la. Can I add my room? Join to create. Where is it? Join to create. Looks like yeah. Okay, it's good. And
Hi, Mr. Slave.
hey, pun zombie, what's up?
Yeah, what's up? What we doing in here?
Was about to change the name of the room to Luigi Mangione is a domestic or should be tried as a domestic terrorist.
It's a hot take. Why would we try him as a terrorist?
Yeah. What do you
I don't. I don't think that's a crime.
you don't think that's a crime to be a domestic
Yeah, no,
terrorist?
no. In being a terrorist involves committing a crime, but I don't think there's an actual legal thing called being a terrorist.
I mean, but he acted upon it. I mean, he murdered someone as part of
Right. If you're trying them for murder, you're not really trying them for terrorism, though. Like you're trying them for murder.
but if the murder is right, he wanted to send a message. So when you try to send a message, when you commit a crime in order to send a message, and the message is, do as I say, or or else, then isn't that literally terrorism?
Yeah, but well, actually, he didn't say "do as I say" or else. I don't think, unless you know something I don't know.
Okay, so I'm assuming that you support him. You support Luigi.
No, no, I actually
No?
don't support Luigi Mangione. I don't think terrorism is like a prosecutable offense. I think you can prosecute acts that are necessary in order to commit terrorism. It's like cannibalism. There is no crime, at least in most places, against eating people. It's just the things you would need to do in order to eat people are crimes.
I'm sorry, please repeat what?
It's like cannibalism. In most places in the United States, it's not actually illegal to eat human flesh, but the only ways that you could obtain human flesh are all illegal.
I don't see how that's relevant. What are you
But
trying to say?
what I'm saying is it's analogous. It's like in order to be a terrorist, you have to do illegal things, but you can't actually be prosecuted specifically for the crime of terrorism because terrorism is not a crime.
Terrorism is not a crime?
Yeah, we can look up a legal statute and you'll never find terrorism. You can find terroristic threats, you can find murder, but terrorism itself is not actually a legal offense in most U.S. states.
Um okay, I mean I was listening to the Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, and he said that this falls what Luigi Mangione did falls squarely within the definition of domestic terrorism.
Right, but is that actually a legal charge?
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Like is he being accused in a court of law of being a
Yeah,
terrorist?
that's
So
that's what he's pursuing. That's what Alvin Bragg is pursuing right now. He wants a conviction. He's pursuing a conviction for domestic terrorism. I don't see. I mean, I don't understand what you're questioning.
okay, I found the actual charge. He's being charged with the murder as an act of terrorism.
Okay,
Yeah,
what that makes sense.
yeah, that makes sense. Like
So
I
what?
thought,
Hmm.
yeah, I thought like he was just being charged with an offense called terrorism. Like that didn't make any sense to me.
You mean you thought Luigi Mangione is charged with terrorism regardless of the murder?
No, I'm saying that I thought he was charged with terrorism as a crime in addition to the murder, right?
Regardless of
Like,
the murder? What do you mean in addition? So it's regardless.
well, it it means that it's a crime he could have committed without the murder, essentially.
That's what you so you thought that that he's being charged for terrorism regardless of the murder.
Yeah, yeah. If that's what you mean by that, then yeah.
Okay. That's bizarre. That's a bizarre understanding.
Well, because you made it sound like he was actually being charged with a crime called terrorism, right?
Regardless of the murder. That you thought that I would have accused Luigi Mangione of being a terrorist regardless of murdering a CEO. So if you would
Look,
have been. Mhm.
when you say someone's being charged with terrorism, that sounds like you're giving the name of a crime.
Mhm.
There is no crime named terrorism.
Okay. That's a bizarre. I mean, I agree with. I agree that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there is or there isn't. But it's bizarre. But fine. So, do you agree or disagree that he is a domestic terrorist?
Yeah, I agree. He's a terrorist of some flavor. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Well, at least that. Yeah, he's
No, you.
what?
What?
No, no, you were about to say no you. So no,
No, I didn't say anything.
we okay, he left. We didn't have a disagreement. It's difficult to debate people without a disagreement.
So we need to elevate this class of citizens, this class of victims, because we don't want the tax base to shrink. I mean, it's just disgusting. Again, I want to be clear, folks, because I know this is a important moment. I am not telling anyone to go get your guns and shoot down CEOs.
These are democratically elected officials. The New York State governess, she cares, she wants to be reelected. What do you want her to do? To just, I mean, otherwise, society falls apart. New York State is going to fall apart if we're going to start allowing. Of course, all the corporations are going to run away from New York State. Who can stay, right? What kind of a convention can you have in New York State if you're afraid that as long as you're in New York State, you're going to be assassinated? Why would you want to show up in New York State? That doesn't make any sense.
I do think that will come back on us. I don't believe in vigilante justice. However, I also don't agree with the tale of two cities. I don't agree with the Gilded Age, which we now live in the second Gilded Age. And I don't think Brian Thompson is somebody where the shooter should be charged as a domestic terrorist. I don't think Brian Thompson is more special or is more of a victim than anybody else. But they're telling you they do. They're telling you they.
So he's pretending, so this baby pretends to misunderstand that the CEO murdered has anything to do with the terrorism charge, as if it's because it's a CEO that was murdered. So if somebody would have murdered the CEO as part of a robbery, he would have been accused of domestic terrorism just as much as Luigi Mangione, who was doing it in order to send a message to the CEO class, to the health insurance class, whatever. So, I mean, this guy is obviously pretending to misunderstand what's going on.
They do think that.
I don't believe that he could be this dumb.
Donald Trump, by the way. So for you MAGA people watching, Donald Trump came out yesterday and said he thinks it's disgusting that people are glorifying Luigi Mangione. He said it's disgusting. He admonished Luigi Mangione, praised Brian Thompson. So you might think Trump is, friend of the worker. He's not. He tried to get rid of Obamacare. Obamacare is not my cup of tea, but it's certainly better than the, SOL, your shit out of luck healthcare system that we had before. I think it needs to be torn down completely and just create a universal system. But I think they are telling you from this response, they don't want you. They don't want folks. They want to bottle up this outrage and scare the living shit out of you by charging domestic terrorism.
Shut up. Yep. Shut up, because if you aren't feeling the heartstrings for Brian Thompson, and
so you think that executing a CEO, that's not shut up. That's like let's have a conversation. So how do you have a conversation? You assassinate a CEO. That's how you have a conversation. Okay, so why are you surprised that the continuation of the conversation is an accusation of being a domestic terrorist? That's that's the conversation you started. Why are you surprised that that's the conversation that's being continued?
and you somehow relate to the anger of Luigi Mangione, then you too could be considered a terrorist. That's what this is. And this is the same tactic that they've been pulling on us about everything. Like I mentioned yesterday, it's Darbo. It's gaslighting. It's an abusive tactic where they turn it around, and now people are upset about their healthcare system. We're the bad guys. We're the abusers. We're the aggressive ones.
It's a very slippery slope. Colin, I think there's more clips we have. Whatever the other clips are, let's play those.
I echo what the commissioner said, and the sentiment of your question. My heart goes out to this. Is a significant piece of what we do here. Is we center the trauma of survivors and victims and their families. It's a piece of what I do is sit across the table and look people in the eye. And when appropriate, we want to offer a hug. And we have dedicated advocates and counselors and great staff that focuses on that. So I agree completely with you. And I wish that that's where the public's focus was exclusively. That's where it should be. That's where it is here, in addition, obviously, the facts and the law.
So, again, he wishes that the public's focus was on the victim, Brian Thompson. And I'll be honest, I'm a human. He does have two sons. I feel bad for them.
So he feels bad for the sons, but not for the father. Why don't you feel bad for the guy that was executed? So you don't feel bad for the guy that was executed. All right. So, okay, why are you upset that now the officials don't care about your feelings? That they're just moving forward to accuse you of terrorism. Why are you surprised?
Two young kids, they lost their father. I have a heart, but he wishes that, the rest of you were crying tears for Brian Thompson. How about you do something, Alvin Bragg, about the predatory practices of United Healthcare?
Okay, so you want to send a message. Why are you surprised that you wanting to send a message? All right, that's all right.
Luigi Mangione is not a terrorist.
Oh, good. So we can debate
That's
it.
my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely not a terrorist. I just found that out.
Wait. So before you thought, what did you think before?
No, I'm a different guy, coincidentally named Pun Zombie.
That's impossible.
Why is it impossible? You can't have the same name on Discord.
I mean, you sound the same. It's the same voice.
Yeah, like there's two guys on here. We have the same name. We're brothers.
Why are you hiding your identity? I don't understand.
Look, I'm not Pun Zombie. I'm actually Pun Zombie.
Look, it doesn't matter. I don't care. It's fine. I'm just wondering.
No. Look, I'm telling you the truth. I'm Pun Zombie.
It's fine.
My brother is Pun Zombie.
I don't care. Why?
It's completely different.
It's great. It's a good joke. And if it's true, then it's even funnier. Either way, I don't care. So if you didn't change your mind, that's also fine. If you don't want to discuss why you changed your mind, that's also fine. As long as you disagree with me, that's what's important. So you don't think that he is a terrorist?
No, my brother does. Let me go get him real quick.
Why don't you just talk to me? I don't care about the So this guy just wants to make a joke out of the whole thing.
I mean, we just did an interview the other day, Colin, if you have the clip. I interviewed a whistleblower who used to work at United Healthcare. CNN won't have her on. MSNBC won't have her on. The New York Times is going to talk to her.
I listened to your entire interview with that lady. I think one time or two and a half or something. I listened. And it's actually funny because everything she said is against your position. She basically said how much she loves her job and loves health insurance, and that's all she is. She represents health insurance, and that she is health insurance. She is a health insurance middle management, and there's nothing wrong with her position, with her behavior. There's nothing wrong. You loved her, so you love health insurance. So you don't have an argument against health insurance. Everything in that interview is you thinking how wonderful health insurance, corporate American health insurance, United Healthcare is. It completely shattered your proposition.
She told me when she worked at United Healthcare, they had a quota system. They had a quota system for denying care, meaning you had to meet a certain amount of denial.
I don't think she said that. I don't remember. And it's not important. So what if she had a quota? So what? How is that an argument for anything?
To be in good standing as an employee. How is that not a crime? So you basically have.
So it's a crime to have a quota? It's a crime to have any measurements for what you do for work? So we're not allowed to measure you as a worker, your team. We shouldn't have performance indicators? Performance indicators are a crime?
Have to. If you're an insurance,
So if you're a doctor and you're very effective at saving lives compared to other doctors, that performance indicator is a crime according to you?
I was going to talk to her. She told me when she worked at United Healthcare, they had a quota system. They had a quota system for denying care, meaning you had to meet a certain amount of denials to be in good standing as an employee. How is that not a crime? So you basically
So it's a crime to have let's say there is such a quota. Let's say it's a quota that you have to have a number of denials. I don't think she said it. I don't think it's true, but let's say it is. That's what they, it's a private corporation. Look, if you don't like the corporation as a client, guess what? There's others you can go to. And guess what? If you don't like any of them, guess what? You can create a new one. Write up a business plan and go offer it to investors and tell them, listen, I know I can make a better health insurance corporation. Listen to me. I can make it better. Go ahead. You can also, guess what? Run and try to become the CEO of United Healthcare. It's a free country. It's so beautiful. You can make an argument. There's so many things you can do. But instead of any of that, you choose violence.
have to. If you're an insurance employee, you have to deny a certain amount of claims, even ones that are perfectly valid. If you have that, let's play that.
Even ones that are perfectly valid, you have to disclaim them. You have to deny the claim. I don't know if that's true. If it's true, fine. Then people will leave this insurer and will go to competing insurers.
I got this call. It started out with speaking with the administrator, and we were progressing.
I set that up completely wrong. So the clip we have is not that, but we're going to play this clip. This is a case where she was explaining that United Healthcare refused to cover the full treatment for an intersex child, meaning a 14-year-old who was born with male parts and female parts.
So this is, I wouldn't say this is moving the goalpost. This is just not claiming that you have evidence for a claim, and instead of presenting the evidence for the claim, you're not going to present the evidence for the claim, or are you? Let's listen.
Parts. They would only cover the removal of a penis. They would not cover the rebuilding of a vagina. Let's play that.
Yeah, the rebuilding of, the whole thing makes no sense. If that's the best evidence you have for denying a claim, it's so terrible. It's so terrible. It's so terrible. How terrible is it? They denied the rebuilding of the vagina after the removal of the penis for a child, for a sex change operation, for a child that was born with both sexes. It goes on and on and on. This is your best case for denial? This is the best evidence you have for denial? This is a joke? Are you joking? As a joke, it's funny. But are you serious? This is the best, the only evidence you have, the first evidence you have? They deny claims. They deny claims. They deny claims. Listen to this case. They deny the claim. What's the case? It's a child that was born with both sexes. So it's already like, why are you touching a child? Why don't you let the child become an adult and decide if it's a boy, if it's a girl, if it's happy the way it is? There's plenty of these people that are born with both sexes, and they, as far as I know, they make a lot of money online, and they can have a wonderful life. It's whatever. It's like nobody's perfect. Everyone is a weirdo one way or the other. Why are you touching the child to begin with? But let's say, fine, you want to remove the penis. You nilly-willy decided you want to remove the penis. Like, why do you want to remove the penis? Yeah, we want it to be a girl. But what if it's not a girl? What is this? Anyway, it's such a bizarre case. They took the only case they have for denial. That's the only case they have. And that's the only evidence they have. And that's it. Based on this, they murdered the CEO. These these crazy babies. You're a crazy baby. You're a crazy baby. Go back to your crib.
Got this call. It started out with speaking with the administrator, and we were progressing nowhere really as far as getting it resolved. And this was one of the rare opportunities I actually talked to the doctor. And so the situation with this child was born with both body parts. They had male and female body parts, and we had paid for the claim to have her penis removed, but we were denying the portion of the claim to have her vagina rebuilt or to build a.
Just the very fact that they paid for the claim to have the penis removed, I would not have covered this. I would have objected. Even for an adult, it doesn't matter. Why would you cover this? This is not, I wouldn't consider this a medical situation. This is like a personal decision. Like if I want to have my penis removed, what, it's going to be covered? Why would you cover it? This is the thing. I want to make some, I want to have a tattoo. Are you going to cover having a tattoo? This is nonsense. I mean, the question is, what does the policy say? I mean, if you bought a policy that says that it's covered, then it's covered.
Vagina for her. And the reason was it was an
I'm beginning to become a hungering individual, so I might have to leave soon.
exclusion for sex change operation. That was an exclusion at the time. And when I talked to the doctor, he said, I don't care. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. But, the thing about why this story sticks with me is that, in my layman's opinion, I'm not a doctor, when you have male and female parts, this is not a sex change. This is a correction. There's a medical reason to do this for this person.
Oh, she calls it a correction. I mean, look, it really depends. But if this is your base, if this is the most you have, this is your best. If this is the best you have for evidence for denying a claim, then you're nothing but a baby. This is pure disinformation. This is just, you're a baby. You're a baby. Put a pacifier in your mouth and go to your crib. You're such a little baby.
And also, I mean, United Healthcare clearly knows the difference between.
Why would you wear a jacket with a t-shirt? I can't understand people who do this. Don't you understand that the back of your neck is oily? You're going to get a stain on the jacket. Don't you understand that? Don't you understand that's the purpose of a collar? That's why you wear a collared shirt? Every time I see people doing this, I find it very offensive.
A voluntary sex change and a hermaphrodite who was born this way. Right. And also, I mean, in a lot of cases, the doctor wouldn't have gone ahead with it because doctors, for various reasons, don't want to go against the insurance or why get paid. So if this doctor didn't.
This has nothing to do with the insurance. I wouldn't do it. I would refuse. But then you're taking a chance on having your medical license taken away because it's such a free country.
Do that. That delay could have been costly to the child of, rebuilding the female parts.
But how do you know the child wants to grow up as one of the sexes? How do you know?
Yeah, and actually, I guess the reason why this affects me so deeply is
I thought children don't have free will. I thought we don't care what a child says about about themselves. Children don't have volition.
because in a way she's already been put at a costly. She's 14 years old.
Right? That's why we don't let children get married.
I mean, it's really unbelievable. Can you imagine, like?
That's really unbelievable. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. They wouldn't do the vaginal plastiocy, whatever, the vagiplasty, the plastic surgery for the vagina. They wouldn't do it. How could they not do it? That's the best they have. That's the best they have for deny. People are dying. People are dying, Mr. Luigi Mangione. People are dying. People are dying. How are they dying? Because they don't let them rebuild they don't cover the claim for the rebuilding of the plastic surgery for the vagina. That's it. That's the best they have for people are dying. But people are dying. People are dying. How are they dying? Because they don't rebuild. They don't cover the charge for the plastic surgery for the rebuilding the penis is a vagina. That's it. That's the best they have.
The rare case where you have what do they call it? Siamese twins? where
Yeah.
they're attached,
Conjoined twins.
conjoined twins. Well, oh, is United Healthcare going to pay to split them up, but then they're going to deny the several days they need to spend in the hospital for post-op? I mean, it's crazy. And apologies, I know in the
Wait, what? That's not the case she brought up. The best you have is removal of a penis, which they covered.
interview, I used the wrong term. I was not aware it was offensive. Now I know to call it intersex. So my apologies. I was not aware. So what's amazing to me about this, that's just one story. She was telling me about
what's the word he used?
for post-op. I mean, it's crazy. And apologies. I know in the interview I used the wrong term. I was not aware it was offensive. Now I know to call it intersex. So my apologies. I was not aware. So what's amazing to me about this, that's just one story. She was telling me about other stories where they were routinely denying MRIs to diagnose cancer because they were saying, well, you don't have a cancer diagnosis, so we can't approve this. How many people then didn't get the MRI because they couldn't afford it and missed the cancer or got their treatment delayed?
But he didn't. You don't have that as evidence. That's not the evidence you have. That's not the evidence you have. You don't have that evidence. You are disinforming. You are disinformation. You're spreading dangerous, harmful, and dangerous disinformation.
I mean, it's really unbelievable. Can you imagine, like, the rare case where you have Siamese, what are they called, Siamese twins? Where
Yeah.
they're-
You don't have that evidence. You're making up evidence.
they're attached,
Conjoined twins.
conjoined twins. Well, oh, is United Healthcare going to pay to split them up, but then they're going to deny the several days they need to spend in the hospital for post-op? I mean, it's crazy. And apologies. I know in the interview I used the wrong term. I was not aware it was offensive. Now I know to call it intersex. So my apologies. I was not aware. So what's amazing to me about this, that's just one story. She was telling me about other stories where they were routinely denying MRIs to diagnose cancer because they were saying, well, you don't have a cancer diagnosis, so we can't.
Okay. So bring it up. Bring it up. Let's discuss it. Whatever she said, let's discuss. Let's bring it up. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What does the policy say? What did the doctor say? I don't know. I mean, it's like I want to go right now and get a bunch of MRIs, from morning until night. I want to go live in the MRI department. Well, United is not covering my claims. I want to live in the MRI department. What does the policy say? There is a policy, right? You purchase a policy. If you love MRI so much, buy an MRI machine, become an MRI technician, and just sit all day in an MRI machine and MRI yourself, and to heaven and back. Wait, MRI is expensive.
Approve this. How many people then didn't get the MRI? Because
Have you seen my two brothers?
Yes, I've seen your two. I thought you're three. Three brothers.
Well, I'm the third brother, right?
Anyway, what do you want to talk about that's actually not, a waste of my time?
I just jumped in to see what was going on. Apparently nothing. I'm going to go over here now.
they couldn't afford it and missed the cancer or got their treatment delayed to treat the cancer. Is that not murder? When you're making conscious
cancer at younger and younger ages, so sitting it at
Then sue them. Sue them for murder. Sue them. Go to court. There's a court. There's a policy. The policy is a contract. Go to court. That's exactly what courts are for contract enforcement. Go to court.
you can't have your prostate checked or you can't be checked for breast cancer until you're 45, 50, 55 is nonsense. If there were so many comments on these threads about people, a woman found, a lump in her breast and she was upset because she was only 36 and was denied cancer screening, something that we used to do at many clinics across the country that were closed down because of the ACA privatizing what we did, the little bit of public health care we did have. There used to be screenings, there used to be the stuff, not as much as we needed, but at least we had some.
Okay, it used to be better, and because of the Obamacare, now it's worse. All right, then you know who to blame. It rhymes with Obama.
Now United has taken over this infrastructure, and some of these people, they have Medicaid, they have Medicare, but because it's privatized and United Health handles an innumerable number of Medicare and Medicaid patients, and it's insured through places like Humana and United, they can deny treatment even if they're on public healthcare. And some of these people are like, I'm on Medicaid, but I got denied a cancer screening when they found a lump.
Okay, but that's Obamacare. What do you want from me? So you don't like Obamacare? Nobody likes Obamacare. We should repeal it. We should have private health insurance. Well, I don't understand this. It should be completely privatized. This should have nothing to do with government.
My breast. Come to find out, I was allowed a year later when it advanced.
Yes.
Wait, is this what you believe, or is this like, are you like, what's your standpoint on the situation? Because I honestly think that this motherfucker was entitled to do what he did, and he spoke for a few million people when he did what he did.
Yeah, I believe that he is actually he should be charged for domestic terrorism. Yeah, that's what I think.
I mean, I think he should be charged with murder, first degree murder, premeditated murder. I believe he should be charged with that and like some other shit. But I don't think he's necessarily a domestic terrorist because he didn't do something deemable as terroristic under the guidelines of what is considered domestic terrorism and any sort of political monetary gain. This was more of a, hey, you fucked my family over, so I'm gonna do what millions of people want me to do. It's a revenge. It's a homicide. If say he had, but I can understand, say if he had then had a bomb in his backpack and had left it at the entrance of where he was going in while there were everyday citizens, then yes, he was causing terror and his intended target was also innocent life with that explosive, knowing that it would be an active part of the day. Then you can argue he was a terrorist. But him killing one individual and regarding other people's lives who weren't involved, only his main person he was going at, it's a premeditated homicide.
But terrorism, the purpose of terrorism is to terrorize. is to
No, but he's not terrorizing anybody. He assassinated someone. There's a difference. If he like, that's the thing. If he were to terrorize us, he himself in an organization, or he himself would be leading an organization that would now, at that point of time or leading up to that event, would also previously have carried out different attacks against insurance companies for a political or beneficial monetary or religious gain.
No. In order to be a terrorist, you just need to commit an act of terrorism. You don't need to be the leader of a terroristic organization. You can be a single person acting on your own, performing an act that is terrorism. You don't have to be part of an organization. You don't have to be the leader of an organization. It's nothing to do with organization. Terrorism might, by definition, it's a crime that is intended to terrorize. So, did he intend to terrorize anyone through this action? That's
No, he didn't intend to terrorize anyone. His intentions were to end the CEO's life to make a point.
Exactly, to make a point.
That's the thing, though. That's not the stage of it. It's the mass casualty that makes it domestic terrorism. There's a big line between first degree murder and domestic terrorism.
No, but you said that he wanted to send a message. I think you said something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. Every killer that has killed someone in most like premeditated murders, there is a message left behind. It's either there's always a message and a motive to it.
Motive is
but no,
different.
he's saying his message, and he should be charged with domestic terrorism for committing a first degree murder when it's like plain text down the line, first degree murder, and not at all domestic terrorism.
No, so
like I can argue, you could have an arguing fact that like, yeah, he should be brought to charges of domestic charges for domestic terrorism if he had done so and took other innocent life catastrophically, backed up behind and saying that's why he did it.
Look, you agree that he wanted to send a message. So
yeah, he wanted to send a message to the corporation because of medical problems that were happening within his family. It's not necessarily domestic terrorism because there's not that monetary or beneficial value from it.
No,
there's no he did not gain anything from it. That's what makes that's what defines terrorism, is there's a benefit in some sort of imaging from it. He's not gaining a self-imaging towards him. He's gaining it towards himself, not for an ideology. He wants to be known as the person who killed the CEO of an organization, not someone who is doing this for a fucking image. He did it to simply get back. Yeah, he may left some messages because it's an insult.
Look, so if if you're trying to send a message, if you're committing a crime in order to send a message, I would classify that as terrorism.
So is the Zodiac killer a domestic terrorist?
What's the message? Right? You
His message is to be his message was to be notarized.
that's
There
not
is no message behind Luigi either. There's no message behind it.
well, you said there is. So
What I'm saying is there's what you're mixing up what the reality of people think, and now you've concerned it with
No, you
domestic
said-
terrorism, but that's not the case.
but you said
There's not a negative backlash, so now it must be terrorism because so many
No.
people have already supported this. That's
No,
where
you
this is
s-
probably coming
no,
from.
you said that you said something to the effect of that he wanted to send a message. Right? Why did he do it? What's his motivation for the crime?
That's the point. That there is the motivation is because of claims rejections.
What
You realize, listen. One of the key factors in making a domestic terrorist or domestic terrorist organization is further ideological goals stemming from domestic influences such as those of political, religious, social, racial, or environmental nature.
Okay. So do you think what was his motivation in committing the crime?
He's not gaining anything. He's
No,
not
no,
furthering
answer-
anything. He's
answer-
not gaining a benefit. That's what
Okay,
I'm
okay.
saying. That's why
Answer-
he's not a domestic terrorist. He doesn't gain anything in the long
So
run.
why did he
He's
do
not
it?
gaining anything.
So why did he do it?
Because it's a first degree murder. He did it because of claims. He was one of the people who got sick of something and stood up. That's as simple as it is. It's nothing domestic. He shot and killed the CEO in
Why?
plain daylight.
Why?
It was premeditated. He
Why?
planned it out. It's premeditated murder.
Why did he do it?
I just told you why, because the dude's the CEO who runs a fucking really, really weird fucking scheme. And he happened to be, and his family happened to be under the 33% who get constantly getting rejected. That doesn't make him a terrorist. That makes him someone who is obsessive and wants to kill someone. He's not gaining he's gaining self-benefit. He's not gaining a benefit for an ideology. He's not backed by this ideology. His manifesto may have like some of his political ideologies in it, but that doesn't correlate with him being a domestic terrorist. It doesn't correlate with the Buffalo shooter that happened a few years ago in New York being a terrorist either.
I'm very confused. I don't understand almost anything that you're saying. What was his motivation in committing the crime?
Like I said, his motivation, the reason why Luigi did what he did is because he himself and his family members were facing medical bills. It was primarily his mother that kept getting rejected by United Healthcare. So he got mad and took out the CEO of the healthcare. It's his own personal motive. It's not a political motive or an environmental motive. It's his own personal motive. To be a domestic terrorist, you have to do something, and you have to do something that regards in a third party light that is
Okay.
political or within the nature of that hemisphere,
Okay.
within your environment, how your culture is.
Okay.
Committing murder with intent and premeditation is not domestic terrorism.
Okay. So he was not a client of United Healthcare.
He was a client of United Healthcare. His mother was a client of United Healthcare. That has no correlation either. People who listen, domestic terrorists
Let's
and
assume-
terrorists.
Let's assume he was not, and neither was his mom. Let's assume. So would you agree that
This would have never have happened, and he would have never had those human
let's
desires to
assume-
get payback.
So let's assume that he was not a client, nor with his mom. So he committed a crime against the CEO. Then
It'd be the same situation.
what do you mean?
It would still be a first degree murder. If you're talking about if there was no motive behind it and he premeditated the same way and killed them the
Mhm.
same exact way he did, it's still the same thing. It's first degree murder.
Why did he do it? What's his motive?
Yet he doesn't have a motive at that point in time. That at that point in time, you could classify him as a psychopath. People don't have remorse. He sees a high profile person. Hey, that's a dopamine boost. That I could go kill him and premeditate that shit and get away with it and not feel anything about it besides, oh, I did that.
Did you read his manifesto?
Yes, it's a lot about the medical industry and how it's corrupt and whatnot. His personal beliefs, that's not anything to do with terrorism. You're forgetting domestic terrorists are a group, an ideology.
Okay, you don't think he has an ideology?
Okay. First of all, let's get over what makes someone a domestic terrorist. He doesn't intimidate or coerce a civilian population. He didn't influence the policy or conduct of a government. He didn't further any ideological goals stemming from any domestic influences, such as those of political, like I said, political, religious, social, racial, and environmental nature. And he definitely does operate within the United States, but he doesn't
Oh shit.
he doesn't act like he doesn't operate in any way. He just walked up to someone and shot and killed them after he premeditated it.
Why did he do
I
it?
like how I joined the channel and people are actually talking about the subject.
Yeah.
And he
such
also
passion.
has they also lack foreign direction or influence. Guess what he has? He also has political beliefs that come from foreign
Well,
adversaries
think
and
he-
foreign
do you think he
influence and
should
foreign
be convicted
induction.
of murder?
Yes, he's saying he's a domestic terrorist, which or well, you're saying he's a terrorist. Let's get the definition right. So, believe it or not, I'll pull up the definition of a terrorist if you want to get literate about it, about what your title says.
Varies, what do you think?
You're saying he's a terrorist?
Yeah, I mean, I think he
Yeah,
should
so
be
anyways,
charged.
a person who uses unlawful violence and intimidation, especially against civilians in pursuit of political aims. He had no political aim. He had no political
he had a
aim. He was
political-
upset.
I mean,
No,
maybe
he
he-
didn't have a political
maybe
aim.
by the definition he could be.
That's the
described as a
thing, though.
terrorist,
He
but
wasn't. That's
It
the
doesn't
thing.
matter. Though.
He wasn't
That's
going
just a
up
word.
and killing that man because
Maybe I support a terrorist.
he's a piece of shit fucking CEO billionaire and like everyone's going to
Malibu-
love this.
Malibu-
This was like in
Malibu-
his manifesto. It was mainly
He
about
had a
his
per-
mother.
Malibu.
Yeah, he had a personal
Malibu-
reason for it, which is what
He
makes
had
it
a very
Malibu-
personal reason. That's
Malibu,
what
Could you let
that's
other
what
people talk?
differentiates him.
Malibu, you gotta let other people talk.
That's okay. It's but let's discuss this.
What do you
No
think,
one,
Varies?
there's no argument here.
What do you mean? What's your
I'm
position?
just saying that we don't have
What's your position?
my position on what. You gotta ask me a question first.
Is Luigi Mangione a domestic terrorist? What's your position?
I wouldn't personally describe him as that, no. But I could understand how someone might want to. And it might actually could.
Yeah, it would still be a wrong
It could fulfill the
interpretation. It would be the wrong
definition.
charge. It's still also not the definition of what he is.
But
Wait, Varies. I don't.
I'm not
understand.
going by a definition. I'm just going by what.
If he were to have a message backed up behind it, like he was leading it up for months behind and
Well,
created a following behind it, and then went out and did what he did, that would be an act of domestic terrorism.
Just calm down. But
Because he has a
isn't-
political
what-
aim at that point with a big
Malibu,
population.
like,
Malibu. You gotta let other people talk.
To me, what is the point? What's the point of like terrorism fundamentally?
Okay, what's your answer?
Like there's people aren't fearing for he's not a part of an organization.
He's not
There's not going to be
causing
more
fear to the populace.
assassinations with just because he killed a billionaire, but it doesn't mean he's causing terror among billionaires. That would be like if some other dude from your city got killed, then it means you are terrorized. That's terrorism. It's a murder. But maybe we're thinking of it like that because it's like a obviously targeted like elite like class of person he killed.
Varies. You're mumbling.
But
You're mumbling.
that's what
You're
who
not
is he
speaking.
causing terrorism against?
Varies. I'm just saying you're not speaking clearly.
What's
You're
the group?
mumbling.
I mean, I can give you both the FBI definition and the European Union definition of.
I
terrorism.
Is my audio quality bad?
You're
No, that's good. You
you're
just
I
sound a
didn't
little
think I
quiet.
was mumbling.
a little bit. I was missing a little bit of what you're saying. So just speak
But I'm just
louder.
saying, if you're a terrorist, then there has to be a group you're trying to terrorize. So what's the group?
Yeah, like I would say you could argue that he is terrorizing the pharmaceutical industry,
CEOs?
but how is he going to?
That's it.
How is he?
Then you agree that he's a terrorist. You just agreed.
No, I don't agree that
No.
he's a terrorist. I said I could see how you could argue that, but at the end of the day, it's
Done.
rebutable because
if
it's
you can-
first degree murder.
I
'cause
was
it's
asking. I
premeditated.
was asking what group you think he's terrorizing.
Why do you
We were
need to
just discussing
terrorize?
Yeah. What?
What do you mean group? Why do
All
you
right.
need
All
to
right. Let
Because
me give slave.
because it's not terrorism if you just
With
kill
the
someone.
definition of terrorism and terrorist, I'm going to give you the two definitions of it: the unlawful use of violence or force to intimidate or coerce a government or civilian population to further political or social objectives, and EU acts that aim to seriously intimidate a population, compel a government or international organization, or destabilize a country's political, constitutional, economic, or social structures. What has he done to do that?
So
Well-
what he would be saying is that he's intimidating, the healthcare.
But at the end of the day, he's not intimidating them. What would be intimidating is if there's continuous acts, then you can argue he's a domestic terrorist because he started a line of
But he
terrorist.
But he does
acts
have a
against pharmaceutical
manifesto.
industries.
He wrote something on his bullets and all that stuff. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
It's
That's premeditated
understandable
murder.
why someone would
Varies. That's
think
the thing, though.
would define it like that.
It's
But I don't see
premeditated.
why
Malibu-
these
Malibu-
definitions are relevant about the actual discussion about it. 'Cause we
Wait,
haven't really
varies-
discussed anything about what he
Wait,
did.
varies.
We're just
varies,
talking about definitions.
Wait, varies. Wait, don't play devil's advocate. Just present your personal opinion.
I did, but
Okay, what's your opinion?
that got boring. So
No.
I'm trying to
Don't.
tell him.
No. Just present.
As a way of communicating.
No, just
If you
No, you
play devil's
chill.
advocate, people tend to relate to you that might be more.
No, like
No,
that's
it's too
like
easy.
I like slave. I
It's too
understand where you're coming from, how you can argue that, but it's just you can't argue that with how the situation plays out because you have to look at the context of how the situation played out, the emotional factor to it.
Why don't
There's
we
not
talk
a lot
about?
of politics
Why don't we
behind it.
talk about that?
Wait a minute, I'm
Like,
confused.
what-
Hold on, one step at a time. Varies. I don't know at this point what your position is. So could you clearly state your true
Yes, clearly
position?
state your position.
Well, that's the thing. When you said that, I was like, "What position on what exactly?"
So the question is Luigi Mangione a domestic terrorist? Yes or no?
I did answer that though.
But we don't know at
I
this
said
point.
I
You
wouldn't.
said you're
I said
devil's-
I said I wouldn't consider him one, but I could understand how someone.
Okay, so
could.
your answer is no. Yes
Yeah.
or
In my
no?
opinion, yeah.
He was
I don't take it as some
Okay.
objective fact.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay, so let's debate that. So, in my opinion, he is a domestic terrorist. So,
Okay.
right. So I would say that he committed the murder, not like it wasn't like I can understand if you wanted to commit a robbery, you walk up to a guy, you shoot them.
It was a political message.
Exactly. So that's terrorism. Once you say it's a political message, that is terrorism. That's it.
But
not, but at the same time, when you say that a gang bang and a gang war would be political like that would be
No.
classified as a form of terrorism. Yeah, it
No.
would be. But
No.
it's not. It's you get charged with criminal organization and it's a completely different thing.
But that's the thing. I don't think that a politically motivated
Like
murder
the
constitutes
legal
terrorism
definitions
by
is
default.
very
Malibu,
wide.
let people speak.
But you know what I'm saying?
What?
Just because you murder someone for political reasons doesn't mean that's terrorism.
Okay.
Don't you agree? Like you could have some crazy person shoot someone for political reasons.
No, when you say crazy,
it's not just
when you say crazy
it's not
person,
terrorism.
no, when you say crazy person, that's
If I were to shoot someone out of a religion,
I think
I'm not a
cra-
domestic
when
you
say
might be
cra-
thinking
once
of it as terrorism because
No.
of the effect it's had.
Once you say crazy person, then you're saying they're not, That's something
No,
else. That's a
I'm just
different.
giving you
I
an
mean, I
example.
think he's
I'm
justified
not saying I don't.
in what he did.
I'm just no. It could be a crazy person. It could be completely
No,
sane
no,
person. I'm just saying even a
yeah, no,
politically
that's not
motivated
possible.
murder is just because a murder is politically motivated doesn't make it terrorism. Do you agree?
No, I would
There
say
has to be
if it's
something. There's
no, I
there's something
disagree.
more to it than
No, I
just that,
disagree.
right?
No, I disagree. I
So
don't.
any politically motivated murder is terrorism.
Yeah,
So
I
the
would say
assassination
so.
of JFK was terrorism. The assassination of MLK's terrorism.
I don't know. I mean, were they political? I don't know.
RFK.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, they were the presidents of the United States. JFK
What
was
does
the
it
president of the
mean?
United States.
What the question is?
JFK was a political movement leader.
Yeah, but what was the purpose of the assassination?
I told you earlier it was because of his own personal problems that he's seen of his struggles with his mother going through her problems because she kept getting rejected by United Healthcare.
How does it help?
So
to
he
murder?
got mad and took it upon himself. He wrote a manifesto about how he felt. He wrote a manifesto about how his political ideologies align because he knows he's going to go away for a long time on what he did. He wants his story to be heard. It's
here's the thing.
textbook narcissist.
What Malibu was saying is that this was personally. This is personally motivated, and the political motivation was secondary. That's it.
But
that's a good argument. That's a good argument against your point.
But when you read the manifesto,
even if
he had a manifesto,
because
Malibu, hold on.
I know,
Malibu,
but that is personal.
Malibu, you gotta let other people speak once in a while. You're taking over the conversation. It's boring. So hold on. So yeah, go on. I don't know what I was gonna say.
It's okay, but no. He is a little right now. Just slow down. How about just slow down in what you're saying?
Terrorism. The definition of terrorism.
This is the definition of ranting. We're not again. We're all cool here. We're trying to get to the bottom of this, but not.
I could understand where someone can come from a logical standpoint and take that as an interpretation, but it's not the right interpretation.
So what was his
motivation? Proper justice.
What was the motivation?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like from listening to what
personal
Malibu
motivation
said,
was being.
I think that Malibu thinks that the political thing is secondary and that the personal is the
What
primary.
What do you mean personal? What do you mean personal?
Well, it's like if you're motivated to kill someone because
Lenin was assassinated for being a communist.
A loved one died, and that's the main reason. But then there's some secondary reason as to how it happened or how they were in the position to have them get them killed.
Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on.
So it was an emotional thing.
Hold on. Okay, look, I read his manifesto, and from his manifesto, it sounds like he wants to make a political change. He wants to influence our political landscape. He wants to influence the health insurance.
I'm still playing devil's advocate.
Don't. Then stop it. I'm not. No, I'm not interested.
I'm not. See, this is not devil's advocate.
I'm not interested. I'm not interested.
No, this is not devil's. It's not accurate. It's not devil's. What I'm trying to do is get you to understand where Malibu is coming from.
Don't. Just argue your personal position. You're confusing us. I don't know what your position is.
Let's not go around in circles about the same discussion. Why don't we?
You have a position that is against mine. Then please debate me.
Okay.
Don't represent. I didn't ask you to represent anyone.
I don't know your full position. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you think that there is something behind his political beliefs?
What do you mean? Something behind?
Okay. So real quick. I think let me say it real quick. Okay, so he had a political factor, but it wasn't the politics that drove that. It was there was a personal motive. It wasn't stemming because
What's personal?
His mother.
What
That's
about
what I'm
her?
saying. His mother.
What
It's
about
it's
her?
explicitly stated in his
What about her?
it's
No.
explicitly
Well,
stated
His mom
in
doesn't
his
show.
manifesto
Well, here-
about how he
we're
witnessed
going
her
we're
go
going back to
through
what we're talking.
suffering and pain. Listen to
Miss,
the words that are coming out of my mouth. This is the motivation. This is why it is not
we,
a domestic terrorist
we've
act
heard.
or a terroristic act, because his motivation doesn't stem from a political view. It
Yeah,
stems
but
from an
Slade,
emotional
Slade
bond
is
that he has
saying
with
is
his
he read
mother,
the
watching his
manifesto and then
mother being
it's highly
hurt.
political.
Okay, Malibu, thank you. Yeah, very
The
go.
emotion of
Okay,
seeing his
Malibu.
mother
Okay,
being
okay,
hurt
But
made his
Thank
political
you, Malibu.
ideology
if you,
more
Malibu,
prominent.
thank you. Yeah,
if
very
you
go
got
ahead.
no, but see, I was trying to explain Malibu's point too, but Mr. Slade's point though is that he read the manifesto and it is highly politically charged. And yes, that might be a secondary effect of the trauma from this personal thing, but the fact that it's political is very clear, right? He wrote something on the bullet casing. He had all of this ready. He was so there
Yeah.
was there's a political there's a I don't know if political is even the right societal like social like
Yeah,
but there's a reason behind it that he is supporting
yeah.
that.
Yeah, he didn't do it because he wanted to go out and do it.
It's
He did it
like
because someone was hurting.
yeah, and I think but that's like probably that's what a lot of people are thinking too. It's like that they're like I probably would have done the same thing and maybe I wish I had because I've experienced trauma from the healthcare system and I could understand why he'd go to that level and what he's
I
saying.
can
You know
understand.
that's what
I
and that's
can.
why people
Yeah. I can
are
understand.
associating with it
Yeah. So I can
because it's
understand.
fucked up.
Yeah. So I
Wait,
can.
Mr. Slave, where are you from?
No, hold on. Look, I can understand a terrorist. It's not like I cannot understand a terrorist.
It,
I can
it is a
understand.
good question.
I can
It is a
understand.
decent
Hold
question
on.
saying asking where you're
Wait, hold
from
on.
though,
Varies. Let me
because you
just.
No,
have to
Mr. Slave,
Varies.
Mr.
experience
Slave,
the
where are
Hold
you
on.
United
from?
Wait one
States
Where
second.
are you
healthcare
from?
Wait.
system to really
Wait.
understand how fucked up it is.
Okay. Hold on. I can understand any terrorist, and I can understand Luigi Mangione. It's not that I don't understand, but the point is, what he did, according to my understanding, is it squarely falls under the definition of domestic terrorism. It's not like I don't understand
No,
him.
it doesn't.
But I guess
It doesn't
I
matter.
don't.
There's another playing factor that goes into it that complete. Listen, where are you from to begin with?
I'm from New York City.
Yeah,
Are
the
you
thing is,
sure?
Am
I'm
I
saying
sure?
it could fall under domestic terrorism.
Where are
I
you? Where
I
are
just
you
don't think these
originally
definitions are
from?
that important.
Malibu, I don't discuss my private information except for.
I'm not like trying to fucking
No,
back. I'm saying
wait,
where are you originally
I
from?
don't discuss that. I don't disclose that information.
So you're not originally from the United States.
It's not.
no, you're not making him
Not-
feel very comfortable.
That's what I'm not. I'm
We-
not trying to make
we-
you
we-
uncomfortable. I'm
we
just
can
trying to
hear that you have-
understand why you don't
we can hear
understand the
that you
American
have a-
justice
No, I
system and the different
understand.
definitions.
I said I
I'm
understand
Then you
him.
then
I'm from-
but
US is the worst
but
country to
you
live in.
continue to
Why don't
interpret that
why don't we all share
Luigi is a
first?
domestic terrorist when he's not. It's a premeditated first degree murder. Yes, he
Comes
had a
North
political
Korea,
motive,
it's
but
gonna
it stemmed from an emotional motive.
I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Look, if you think
The United States penal law is very confusing, and I understand.
so, you're saying, look, when you read the manifesto, right? It's clear that he was doing it out of a political motivation.
Yes, I know, but the same thing you can say about the Buffalo shooter. He had a manifesto. His
I don't
gun
know that.
had
I don't know that.
carvings.
Can you guys-
Okay, so listen.
Can you
let me-
guys
let me-
agree
let
to
me-
disagree?
No. Let me. No.
Because I don't think you guys are ever gonna
varies.
resolve
Let
this
me get this out
particular
real quick. Let me
argument.
get this out real
Varies.
quick.
If you don't want to
there
engage
was
and
a-
present your own opinion, then I don't know
No,
what else
my
to say.
opinion
Alright,
is
Hold
that
up. All right, hold
it-
on. Mr. Slave,
This
Mr.
is-
Slave. There
Hey,
was
free
a
my
shooting
boy.
isn't
in
that
New
important.
York.
Wait 1 second.
There
We
was
have
a
Dr.
shooting.
Wait, Malibu, hold on. Dr.
I'm
Ethical
trying to
Cannibal.
explain.
No.
Yeah, free
Hold
my
on.
boy.
Dr.
Free my
Ethical
boy
Cannibal.
Luigi.
So you support Luigi?
Free my boy Luigi.
Yeah, free my boy Luigi. Yeah.
But the question
Fuck
is,
the system.
Wait,
Yeah,
Doctor.
fuck
Oh
the
my
system.
God.
Free my boy.
This
Free
is
my
gonna
boy.
get more hectic.
No, look, it calmed down a little bit. We can like
Look.
take turns
No, okay,
talking
let
now.
me get back to what I was saying.
That
No,
was
no,
At
Malibu
any
no.
here.
point in
Hold
time.
on, Malibu.
You're saying, listen, no,
All right,
let
one
me
at a time.
back on topic.
Malibu.
Let me get back on
No,
topic.
Let
no,
let
no.
Malibu doesn't
Malibu
obey one
I'm,
another.
Malibu.
give
finishing what I'm
Malibu 10
saying.
seconds. Give
I'm
Malibu.
Malibu
finishing
10
what I'm
seconds.
saying.
No, no,
Go ahead,
no.
Malibu.
All
10
right,
seconds.
listen.
No,
Listen.
Introduce
Malibu.
yourself
No.
to Dr. Ethic.
The
No.
shooting that had
No.
happened
Malibu.
in Buffalo, New York,
Malibu.
Oh, let
at
him
the
introduce
top
himself.
was
No.
politically motivated. There
Malibu.
was a
Stop.
manifesto. The
Malibu.
shotgun had
Malibu.
1357 on
Stop.
it,
Malibu.
rating the statistics of the
Malibu.
crime rate motivated, and it was
Malibu.
considered a mass shooting.
Okay.
It's not
Why wouldn't
helping
you
You
just let him
Slave
fucking
finish?
pussy.
to
Malibu.
Why wouldn't you
it's
just
not
let him
helping
finish?
Slave.
Why wouldn't you
Malibu,
let
I'm
him finish?
asking you to let other people speak. I want the doctor to speak
Dude,
now.
dude,
What?
Malibu,
I
you
didn't even
gotta
have
let
anything to
other
say.
people speak.
All I said was free
dude,
my boy
it
Luigi.
is
Malibu, you
Well,
gotta let
he
other
he
Free my boy
well,
Luigi.
not worth the
he,
fucking
That's all I
time.
have to say. Free my boy Luigi.
look.
There we go.
Malibu,
Dr. Ethic just
Malibu,
joined.
I understand your position, and
I'm
that's
literally
So
trying to
very.
finish what I'm
I've been
saying. It's proving
I
my
joined
point.
I joined before
He
you,
says,
Ethic, and I entered this argument.
Free my
And
boy Luigi.
1 second, Varys, hold
Slave
on.
thinks what Luigi did is domestic terrorism,
Wait,
and
Varys,
Malibu thinks it is not.
Varys,
No,
That's the
Varys,
entire fucking
Varys.
discussion that can never end.
I
Because I want
think
Okay,
for
we're
a
done.
right winger it was based.
All right,
For a right
Doctor
winger it was
Ethical,
based.
Doctor
Free my boy.
Ethical Cannibal. Do you want to talk?
Yeah, free my boy Luigi.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
What do you mean? So what do you think? Is he a domestic terrorist?
No, free my boy.
So he's not a domestic terrorist?
No, dude, he's like fucking Batman, dude.
That's literally a domestic terrorist.
Nah, dude. Nah, he's a superhero.
So why did he commit the crime?
Because they deserved it.
Okay. Malibu, I'm gonna unmute you, but please let other people speak.
I would have loved to have finished what I was saying earlier because
No,
it
I'm
was
gonna
still on
mute
topic,
you.
but I guess
No,
not.
no, you gotta let other people. I've heard your opinion.
I mean, me and him are gonna agree on the same thing. So
Look, it's me and
I
you.
already said my piece.
It's me against the room. I'm debating everyone.
don't mute me.
You can. Oh, I'm not gonna mute anyone as long as you let other people speak.
You muted me.
He didn't
Because
really
I
argue with
wanted to
anything I
hear.
said. Like
I wanted to hear
I
Dr.
said he
Ethical
deserved it.
Cannibal.
Well,
I
I
said he
never
deserved
considered
it. You
yeah,
that
he
you're
did
not the
deserve
only
it.
one who wants
Yeah.
things.
Okay,
Do you
everyone,
disagree
please.
that he
If
deserved
you,
it?
Everyone, be quiet.
disagree?
the best way
Let Dr. Ethical
to have a
please speak.
conversation is not to mute people.
Do you,
That's
do you
all.
Well,
disagree?
yeah.
Do you disagree that he deserved it?
Do I disagree that he
The-
deserved it? Yes, I disagree
Yeah.
that he deserved it. He's a good man. The CEO
You
is a
think
good
he's
man.
See,
Oh, dude, I've
well,
never heard of a good
I
argument. I've
disagree
never
that he
heard
deserved it, but I wouldn't say he's a good man.
yeah, go
Cannibal.
ahead.
You ever heard of Cannibal? You ever heard of a good yuppie? I haven't.
Nah, he was a yuppie piece of shit. He deserved it.
Yeah, he was a yuppie scumbag.
Wait, who are we talking about? I
We're
thought we were
talking about the CEO. He's a yuppie.
Yeah.
Look up what. No,
Yeah.
listen,
A
varies.
yuppie.
Look up. No, listen, varies. Look, go on Google.
Fair.
Look up what yuppie scumbag means.
I know what yuppie is. I'm
All
one
right,
of them.
you're a yuppie, you fucking disgusting pig. No,
That's
like I have
young
a no, like
professional.
I have a genuinely deep rooted hatred for
That's what
entitled
yuppie
people.
means. Is young professional.
I think like no asshole shit. Like I'm chill with you. Like I'm
A
chill. I don't really
CEO
give
is not a
But I
yuppie.
see you. I now perceive you
No,
as that prep
he's a
nigga with
yuppie.
a blonde mullet in high school. Now you are forever now instoned in my
Oh, I
brain as a
wish I could
prep.
have had a blonde mullet.
Oh, you were one of the.
Okay, no
I'm
profanities,
one of the
please.
reasonable
Malibu,
millennials.
you gotta be careful with profanities.
So
Slave,
the argument
What did
is
I've been
that
what did
trying
I
to bring
say?
peace to
No
this
N-word,
since the
please.
beginning.
I'm from New York, bro. It's
No,
part of my
no,
language.
where I'm not.
I know. I literally
Slaves.
cannot help it.
Slaves.
I'm gonna ban. No,
I
I'm
can't
gonna have
help
to
it. I
ban.
don't mean it racially. It's from.
I'll ban
You're not
anyone who
helping a
uses
conversation by
profanities.
saying by telling people what to do. Just let the conversation flow.
It's part of my nature, dude. I'm
No,
not
Talking to
saying it
slave.
intentionally or
Slaves
like
trying to
calling
rule
ban
some
dictate over
anyone
you.
violation.
who uses profanities regardless of nature.
So I can't say shit, fuck.
All right, you're gone.
I don't think you should do that, slave.
Well,
Yo, free my boy.
he's not interested in actually
Because
having a conversation.
well, he's not interested in using profanities. He only said it because you mentioned it.
Free my boy.
And
Free my boy.
why are you mentioning it?
Okay, I want to talk to
If you
Dr.
want to have a
Ethical.
conversation, you're not like you will be banned for saying profanities. You.
Free my boy. I'm going on a hunger strike until he's free.
Wait, Dr. Ethical.
Well,
So, but the question, so
He's going to prison for life. I think that's pretty clear.
all right, Dr. Ethical. So you think that Luigi is not a domestic terrorist?
Nah.
So why did
Why
he?
are you so? Why are you obsessed with this point? That's what I want to know.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm.
You always bring it back to making
Like, you
to arguing that he's a domestic terrorist, but I've
You
asked you
understand?
questions
You understand how
beyond
political,
that,
like the term,
and you don't
the
want
term,
to talk about it.
the term domestic terrorist is so fucking loaded. Like you
That's what.
recognize
That's
how
what. But
political it is.
that's why I don't like the argument, because it's like, even if legally he is defined as one,
Yeah.
that doesn't change what we're the discussion.
But-
Then maybe I'll say, okay, then he's a domestic terrorist, but maybe this is,
The question is
it doesn't
legally.
change the nuances.
Well, legally, he's being charged as that's the latest charge. He is being charged
Yeah,
as a
I'm sure
domestic.
he legally qualifies.
That's the question. That's it. So
Why
if he
don't-
is
why don't we
legally,
try,
that wasn't the question. Because I said I don't consider him a domestic terrorist, but I said I could understand why people would.
I
The
like how
But you
question
we're
would
willing
is-
to
say,
call,
do you think he legally is defined as one? I would probably say, yeah, probably, yeah.
okay,
I'm not
varies.
a
I mean,
lawyer,
like
but
technically, like on a technicality, yeah, like he probably like fits the
and that's what
definition
the
of
law is.
domestic
It's
terrorist.
technical.
But like I find it kind of funny that like we're gonna call this dude a terrorist, but then we like align ourselves with like a fucking terrorist state like
Well-
Israel, or like we do terrorism ourselves, you know, like there's
So that's what I'm saying. He might
Silly.
be charged with it, but I wouldn't call him one. That's what I was saying.
yeah, I think
yeah.
he should get a pardon as far as I'm concerned.
That's it.
He was charged with second-degree murder, which I found interesting because I thought, well, this
Yeah.
is the most premeditated fucking hit.
Yeah,
Like,
I literally had the same fucking thought, dude. I was like, why isn't it first degree murder?
if
That's
you
the
look
most
at New York,
planned shit you could possibly imagine.
New York's first-degree murder statute is actually pretty unusual. It's like an enumerated felony murder rule. Like, basically, you have to have the intent, and also it either has to be a cop or
Dude,
some.
they did
in the
it because
class of
they
people.
know they can get them on second degree, and then
Oh, for
first
sure.
degree there would be like a way more. It would just be way more difficult to like.
This is what I find so fucking funny, where it's like, you know, like a cop kills somebody, like, you know, it just gets written off, like they try themselves, you know, they stack the fucking court, they test the lie, they fucking, you know, but like
I bet
fucking,
you though, if a cop killed the CEO of United Healthcare, he would
dude,
got more trouble.
but a dude who has a justifiable reason for killing this person, you know, like
What do you mean
that's
justifiable?
See, here's the thing.
What do you mean?
That
What do you mean
can't be legal.
justifiable? What do you mean justifiable?
It can't be legal.
I mean,
he knew he was gonna get punished, and he
if
should.
there's like if there's a human vampire who's profiting off of like the fucking death and suffering of people, I think they deserve to die. Any rebuttal? No.
No.
I mean,
Completely agree with you.
Okay, well, we're
Yeah,
not.
I think most people do.
Wait,
he wins in the court of public opinion, so you know. Just saying.
I mean, okay, so you're comparing the CEO to a vampire?
Yeah.
Okay, but let's not compare. Let's just talk about the CEO as the CEO. I mean, the CEO, you agree, is not a vampire.
Yeah, not literally.
Right.
But like, you understand what I mean.
No, I
It was a
don't.
metaphor.
Yeah, so I'm
exactly.
saying let's not use metaphors. We're having a legal discussion.
Okay, so literally just take the word vampire out of what I just said, and it all still stands.
Then I'll ask you again. What's your position vis-a-vis Luigi being a domestic terrorist?
I think he's an evil person. The CEO was an evil person that deserved to die, and I don't
Why did he?
I'm not
Okay,
mad at
okay,
Luigi for killing him.
okay. So what do you mean deserved to die? What do you mean? But
So when you're profiting off of the death and suffering of people, I think you deserve to die. I think those people have every right to like seek retribution to kill you. I think they do. That's my belief.
what? Let me ask you a question. What crime did the CEO commit?
I mean, you're trying to like, tie it up in the law, and I'm saying like even if he broke the law, I'm saying he was justified in doing so.
So you
I'm saying
agree?
the laws are relevant here. That's what I'm saying.
So you agree that the CEO was innocent legally?
Legally, but he wasn't innocent by any fucking means.
What do you mean? But legally, you agree that the CEO
You know,
was in?
like here's a good example, like the Sacklers with the fucking opioid epidemic.
I don't know anything about that.
They paid their fines. They didn't,
I
do
don't know
anything
anything.
illegal, quote unquote.
I don't know anything about
They
that.
were the ones. They were the ones who were pushing oxycodone
I
to
don't
people.
know.
They had like
I
fucking.
honestly never
They
heard.
they had they had
I
they had
don't.
doctors handing them out like pills, and
I
it led to
don't.
an opioid epidemic.
I honestly don't know anything about that. Honestly, so
Okay, well you should probably know about the Sacklers. Like we're talking about healthcare, that's pretty significant.
yeah. But for now, I don't.
I'm
So
explaining it. I'm explaining it to you also. Like they were handing out fucking
I'd rather
oxycodone like it was
not.
fucking
I'd rather not.
like it was
I'd
like
rather
candy.
not switch the topic or discuss.
This is on topic.
I
This is
don't know
on
anything
topic.
about it, and I'd rather let's make any we can make assumptions for this discussion instead of discussing other topics.
No, it's
He was giving it by way of example. That's kind of what people do in arguments.
yeah.
But I will. I'm
Like
offering.
what I'm saying,
I'm
what
offering
they
to.
did,
I'm offering to
what they did.
concede. Yeah, I'm offering to concede. Whatever you wanna. Whatever
So
hypothetical you
sometimes
can present. You can
the
present a
point the
hypothetical.
point is
Hmm.
the point of the hypothetical is
Hmm.
that sometimes the law isn't right. Sometimes people get off the hook for shit they shouldn't get off the hook for. And I don't think that means that they're innocent. You understand? Like maybe in the legal context
So
they're innocent,
fine,
but the
fine. So
people
what
who are
was?
handing out oxycodone to children,
Okay,
I
okay.
don't
I
think
don't
they're
know.
innocent. I think
I
those
don't
people
know
deserve to die.
anything. I don't know anything about that case. That's fine.
Okay, then
I'll,
we'll talk about the CEO who was fucking like having them like he was having them write fucking software to deny claims. They were fucking like setting up like AI fucking systems to like, deny claims en masse and like not have human fucking monitoring of this shit. All kinds of like fucking
so
like false flags on claims that would like people who deserve to get coverage were like fucking being denied it.
all
And
right,
people
but
suffered and died as a result of this.
okay,
He deserved to die.
okay. So why didn't he get sued?
What do you mean? Why didn't he get sued?
What do you mean? What do you mean? I mean everything you just said. Put it, write it up as a lawsuit and present it to the courts.
They have been
Yeah,
sued.
but you act like you act like any fucking anything unfair in society can just be solved with a lawsuit. That's not necessarily the case.
Okay, so is Luigi Mattoni
Like
a terrorist?
like
That's
you
the
ever
question.
hear of tort? You ever hear of tort reform before?
Dr.
Tort
Ethical,
reform.
instead of asking
Yeah,
me
tort reform.
personal questions, why don't you present a case? I mean,
No,
what
no,
do you
no.
mean?
But the tort
Well,
reform
yeah,
is relevant. It's
I think
relevant
Luigi
because it
committed
limits people's
jihad.
ability
It's
to sue.
exactly. This guy knows what tort reform is. Okay.
Oh, I'm a law student. I should probably know what it is.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. You're doing your studies right. That's
Oh,
nice.
it's Florida actually did a pretty significant tort reform for exactly what we're talking
Dude,
about.
I had a
Yeah,
fart and it was on the
I'm
verge
in
of being
Florida.
wet.
I'm in Florida.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
how I know about
you
tort
know what I'm
reform.
talking about. Yeah, they made the standard really, really difficult to. They basically changed it to a modified comparative fault, which means if you are 50% or more at fault, you're fucked.
Yeah,
Which
but you at least see my point about like fucking tort reform, like proving that like lawsuits aren't going to solve any fucking.
But that's 100%. I mean, you can agree at least temporarily that like I understand the role of the courts as like we as a society have viewed the courts as a means to allocate burden. I fully get that. I don't think it's the only means, and I don't think it should be.
Dog, I'm in Florida. Like I've seen shit where like there's one lawyer I knew who would go to different establishments, and if they didn't have the updated card reader system where you like are able to scan your card, if they didn't have that, he would sue them for violating fucking like disability fucking.
Yeah, but we're a totally
Oh,
different
yeah.
world.
All right,
Believe it or
let's-
not.
Yeah. So like
Let's
I'm
get
just saying
back-
like the courts aren't.
Okay, let's
You
get.
know, they're not.
Yeah, no,
perfect
they're not
arbitrators.
necessarily moral. And I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen, I've literally filed, like I've seen frivolous lawsuits. I mean, they happen all the time. So
Yeah.
I get it. And I mean, to the point of the discussion, I mean, obviously, like I think we can assume that not everything that's moral is legal, and not everything that's legal is moral.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think that's uncontroversial.
Yeah.
You know, and the problem is the CEO, at least from a standpoint of ensuring that he followed through on his fiduciary obligation to his shareholders. Like he wasn't doing anything illegal per se, but the tactics are very well known,
So if
and they've been
so
whenever
whenever someone thinks that Mr. Jabber is being immoral, then it becomes legitimate for them to execute Mr. Jabber, and that's fine because somebody decided that Jabber is immoral. So I can decide that X is immoral and go and execute them, and that I'm not liable.
I think if most people agree that like that
What do you
person
mean
deserves
most?
to die.
What do you mean most?
I mean, most people
mean
think that like that
democratically?
CEO deserves to die.
You mean democratically? What do you mean
I mean, I like
most?
democracy.
Wait, what? Wait, what do you mean? What do you?
That's an appeal to majority, though. Like, don't you think that the majority of people can be wrong?
Sure.
Happens all the time.
So I mean, so
Sure, they
I'll
can
ask
be,
again.
but,
I'll
like-
ask. So the question again is, so I decide that X is immoral. That gives me legitimacy to execute X. So I can execute nilly-willy anyone I walk down the street and I don't like for whatever reason, any frivolous reason.
No, but I'm saying it's not entirely subjective. I'm saying like there's some.
What do you mean
inner
entirely?
subjectivity that plays
Give me
into this.
give me the exact method by which I should behave. Like, should I walk down the street and nilly-willy execute
Yeah,
people I
so-
feel are
so I
immoral?
think-
Yes or no?
I think if the majority of the community
How do you measure?
intersubjectively agrees.
How do you measure the majority of the community? What's technically how do you do that?
Dog, if there's some gangbanger on your fucking street who's like fucking trafficking children, and
you're
you
not
decide
answering-
to take the law in
you're
your own,
not
and you
ans-
decide to take the
you're
law,
not answering my
and you decide
question. You're not-
take the law
you're
into
not
your
answering my
hands
question.
and kill the person,
You're not
and the
ans-
majority of people agree that
Okay,
person
what do you mean
deserves to die,
majority?
and
Wait,
you
so
shouldn't be
you
thrown
agree?
in jail for fucking.
Okay, you agree that it's up to democracy, right? Yes
I
or
mean, to
no?
some extent, yeah.
What do you mean some extent? It's either you just said majority. That's called a democracy. Yes or no?
I'm saying it shouldn't be arbitrarily left up to like
Well,
I don't
you
know
said
the legal system or the
majority.
cops.
Majority. What's the technical method by which we decide what to do with people?
Dog, what does that matter? Like, do a Gallup poll for
You're
all I
refusing.
care. I don't
wait,
fucking
you-
care.
okay,
dude.
you're
What
refusing.
is it?
You're refusing to answer my question.
No, it's a dumb question.
Okay, we're done.
So Dr. Ethical Cannibal, do you believe you're on? Oh, you muted
Yeah,
him.
I
That's
muted
unfortunate.
him because I asked him multiple times, "What's the method?"
Come
by
on,
which-
let us interact with the young fella. Come on.
Yeah, let's unmute him. I want to shit post with him a little bit. I'm
No.
on your side. Mr.
No, I'm
Slave.
not. Look, no, there's no
Yeah,
side.
no, like democracy is gay and homosexual.
I fully agree with that.
No.
Wait, so you guys are anti-democracy?
No, listen. I think it was bad for Luigi Mangione to kill that CEO. I genuinely do. I do think it was an act of terrorism. I genuinely do, and I do think it's wrong for people to go out and kill people like that.
Do you think it's wrong because it was the arbitrary act of an individual as opposed, or was it just wrong in and of itself? I guess the question is just whether if you have sort of a democratic license to commit something like this, is that preferable to like an individual act of vigilantism? I mean, that seems to be the
Wait,
consensus
Jabber,
that I'm
I'm
seeing.
sorry, I wasn't concentrating. So you're
That's okay.
against democracy, Jabber?
Me?
I am.
No, I guess I'm skeptical of democracy in the Platonic sense. Although I
Wait,
don't really agree with the rest of his ideals.
wait a minute. So how would you, what's your preferable political system?
Shit.
What?
I feel like I sort of align. I think Winston Churchill once said, "Democracy is the worst form of government except all the others we've tried."
Fine.
So like,
Okay, me
I understand that like there are inefficiencies that come with democracy.
yeah,
I don't know of anything that's better
exactly.
that doesn't result in. I mean, listen, my family's
Aristocratic
led an
republics are
authoritarian government,
fine.
so
Yes, Mr. Google, what?
Aristocratic republics don't have any issues
Wait,
in
so
comparison to democracy.
I don't know. What is an aristocratic republic? What does that mean? Is it
Never
So
heard of
democratic?
that.
like
Is it
a small minority elects a representative essentially.
so there's an
Um,
election, so it's a democracy of
well, no,
sorts.
that'd be a republic.
well,
No, so like a representative, so you call a republic. At least that's how like the terms are used in North America. I don't know. They'd be different in Europe. I'm not too
No,
sure.
republic I think means it's divided into republics. It's like
No,
a
no, no. So
state.
a republic is when you elect a representative.
That's a representative
yeah,
democracy,
Ah,
isn't it?
not
Yeah, that's what a
necessarily.
republic is.
So
I mean,
wait, that
there
doesn't make
are.
any sense.
I guess there are non-democratic republics if you count North Korea.
No, North
But
Korea,
North Korea is like obviously lying through their teeth.
yeah,
But like
yeah,
y-
it's
yeah.
a republic in the loosest possible sense because they literally like technically don't have a monarch. But come on, like
yeah,
well,
definitely 100%
yeah.
a
yeah,
monarch.
basically, a republic is any system that does not have a monarch. That's the primary
right.
definition.
And that's the broadest definition, and obviously that
I
intersects with
see.
democracy, which is very funny because when people say America is not a democracy, it's a republic, I always hear that criticism usually to justify like blatantly authoritarian policies.
Wait
Like
one
I never
second.
hear it anywhere else.
Okay, so the word republic
Yeah.
doesn't we don't have a clear definition, so let's leave it alone. So we have a sort of a democracy in order, to run this country. The question is, right,
Mhm.
if we use democracy, then we agree that Mr. Luigi Mangione is a domestic terrorist, yes or no?
I would agree with that. I think the only guy who disagreed with that, you kicked him out of the channel, unfortunately.
I've kicked many people
I
out of the
would believe that domestic terrorism in Minecraft can be pretty cool, no?
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft.
No, we're talking about Mr. Luigi Mangione, and we need to decide if he should be charged as a domestic terrorist.
Well, like what I'm saying is that like,
in real life.
in Minecraft or in
No.
GTA,
No.
domestic terrorism can be pretty cool, no?
I don't care.
Shit.
We're talking about real life. So what's your position in real life? Should we
My position is that domestic terrorism in GTA can be pretty cool.
Okay, I'm gonna mute you if you continue, Mr. Google. Stop it. We're talking about real life.
Come on,
No
man.
more. No.
Are you illiterate? Can you not read between the lines? Like, come on. Come on.
Trouble,
I'm not
Mr.
reading
Google.
between
I knew it was
lines.
gonna
Oh
happen.
no.
Yeah,
That's
no
sad.
between lines. We're here to have a conversation. Anyway, so again, the question is, Mr. Luigi Mangione, is he or is he not a domestic terrorist? And what's
He is, and I mean, he's going to be tried as a murderer. That's what he's going to be tried as, not as a domestic terrorist, but he's going to be
Well,
tried as a murderer.
the
and that's fine with me.
charges, as I heard yesterday, that from the DA, Mr. Alber or something, Alvin Brad. So he said that they're going to be pursuing first-degree domestic terrorist.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
I've never heard of a charge like that
I
before.
100% support that. I think he should be regarded as a domestic terrorist. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I've never heard of a criminal charge like that. What are the like elements of it?
Well, okay. So what do you mean? So you don't even disagree? You're saying this is completely out of thin air, right?
What do you mean? No, I'm just asking like domestic terrorism. Like I've never heard of a criminal charge like that. Like murder, I know what the elements are. I just don't know what the elements he would need to prove domestic terrorism.
So from what I heard from Alvin Brad is that he basically wanted to send a message. He wanted to have a political impact. So that falls
Yeah, that's
squarely
exactly what's
under
necessary.
that falls squarely under
He needs
domestic
to be
terrorism.
condemned as a domestic terrorist because he is one,
Yeah.
and he's encouraging domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
And there might be other people, copycats, who are going to
Yeah.
do what he's going to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, they need to be regarded as terrorists. That's what they are.
Okay, I'm gonna unmute Mr.
Oh shit! Look at
Google.
that. That's true. They just upgraded his charges to murder as an act of terrorism. Oh
Yeah.
I've just
Very
never seen a
interesting.
charge like that before.
That's amazing. I really hope he gets convicted. I hope there's not a hung
I
jury or
wish he
something.
Oh,
would
he's
be
100% getting convicted.
Yeah, okay, but so
Unless there's
Jabber,
like some serious jury nullification going on, or the
so
prosecution fucks it up, which
Jabber,
they
what's your
could.
position?
I mean, hopefully the prosecutors will be very careful with their selection of the jury. That's all I got to say.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay,
Voir
okay.
dire,
Okay,
take a break.
before we go, okay, so but the question is, does everyone agree? Jabber, do you agree that he is a domestic or should be charged for domestic terrorism?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's an act of presumably unjustified vigilantism. I think the idea that this CEO wasn't. I mean, we have laws in this country for a reason.
Yeah.
He should have had his day in court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm not. And even if I were to justify it, I guess from an anarchist perspective, I just don't know how this would be good praxis. Like,
Yeah.
what do we accomplish?
Exactly.
Maybe changing the national dialogue for a little bit.
Exactly.
Well, you're an anarchist? Okay, that's interesting.
I mean, you can be an anarchist. You can be anything you want, but I mean, I don't know how we value decisions. I'm
Through the battle of wills.
as long as we're a democracy and we have a legal system. I mean, if you want to have a revolution and recreate the United States, that's fine. Go ahead. And that's what Luigi Mangione was trying to do. He was right. That's fine. You put
I don't know if that's what he was trying to do. He said he loved feds.
No, he
Yeah,
was
it
trying.
is.
He was definitely trying to recreate the United States. He was trying to start a trend of people assassinating CEOs of various companies. That's what he was trying to do.
Was he?
Okay, I
Because
guess so.
I heard that from at least bits of his little manifesto, he was like kind of a grind set gym bro, but I didn't really get it. It just didn't seem like maybe like a far left anarchist who believes in insurrection as the only way to achieve political ends, which a lot do. But then you have a lot of anarchists like David Graeber who are like, yeah, I don't condone violence like that, or didn't because he's now passed away.
I'm just.
I don't know, he's kind of like got some interesting political takes. Like he was.
Let me just tell Andrew why I muted him. Andrew, I muted you because last time we spoke, you intentionally hurt my hearing. So I'm never gonna let you speak again, ever. So you can leave now.
Now, the important question is that to the monarch of the United Kingdom, were the founding fathers domestic terrorists?
Yes.
Yes.
Fair question.
Yes, and that's why
Now-
they put their lives on the line and they won. So when you win, you rewrite history. That's the way it works. It's fine. And
So, like in Minecraft,
stop.
were they justified
I don't
in
know
their
what
acts
that
of
means.
domestic
Mr.
terrorism?
Google, I don't know what that means. If you keep doing that, I'm gonna have to mute you because I don't know
Yeah,
what that means.
I think the whole in Minecraft language has
I
played
don't know what
itself
it
out.
means.
Like
I don't know what it
made
means.
sense a few years ago, but nowadays.
Come on, man.
I don't
No,
know
like-
what it means, Mr.
well, like,
Google. I don't know what it means. I'm gonna just mute you because I
No,
honestly don't know
okay,
what you mean.
okay, I'll rephrase the question, okay? So, according to your own worldview, with no reflection on my own, were the actions of the founding fathers domestic terrorism justified?
What do you mean by justified? What do what? I mean, there's a point of
Do you
view.
support it?
There's a point of view, right? According to King George, they were terrorists. In their own eyes, they were freedom fighters, and that's the way the world works. So
Mm.
it's all relative.
Right, but I guess the argument is that this guy Luigi views himself as a freedom fighter to some
Yeah,
extent.
which is fine
But
in my eyes. He is a terrorist. He's a domestic terrorist. That's fine. He took his chances. He wants to lead a revolution. He might still succeed, and I'm not going to be on his side. If there is a civil war and it's between Luigi Mangione and the United States, I'm going to be on the side of the United
right,
States.
you're very realist. You're focused on what's the likely outcome going to be, right?
No. If I know, look, not only. I mean, if I knew Luigi is gonna win because he's Superman or something, I don't know. I would reconsider. But as long as it's up in the air, it's a flip of a coin. Then I'm not a communist. Luigi Mangione is a communist. Is a Marxist. So I'm not on
Well,
that.
I don't know if
the
that's true.
goal if the goal of this particular act was to disrupt the healthcare industry, I don't know how it had any desired effect. You'd have to basically kill every single CEO of every single health insurance company.
That's not even.
I
Well, that's what
mean,
they're trying to do.
well,
That's what they
apparently,
wanna
like
do.
this company and this CEO were like particularly bad, like from what I've heard.
Oh, United is terrible. They're actually a
Yeah.
terrible company.
So it's
I was in
possible that he
insurance.
made, yeah. So it is possible they made like some measured change. Although, I mean, how large and how permanent? Like, I guess we don't know.
If they did,
No.
then that's terrible because they're succumbing
Well, no, like
to
this company had
terrorism.
like very poor practices.
No, as far as I'm concerned, I look at the balance sheet, and if it's the best, if they have the best profits, then that's the best company. So as far as yeah, that's how I'm a capitalist, so I
So,
measure by
oh
the
no,
bottom
like
line.
I understand that, but like they were using like AI models
I
that
don't
they
care.
knew had flaws in them.
I don't care. I look at the
So you
bottom
don't care
line.
about the morality of the scenario. I can
I
appreciate that.
I don't know what that word means. I'm a
No,
capitalist.
I can appreciate the sentiment.
I measure
Yeah, but
everything by the bottom line. I don't know what morality is.
I think you need to go above that. I think you can't
I don't know what
just
that means.
rely on raw capitalism.
I don't know what that means.
It needs to be justified on a higher realm than,
I don't
than
know
Now, like,
that.
what if like theoretically, like Mangione was like a super genius and he overthrew the state as a dictator
Mhm.
and won the battle of wills and murdered every CEO on the planet
What
and
about
create
it?
a failure command central economy? What
All
you
that
say then?
all that he would do is recreate North Korea, and I would run away. I would try to run away as soon as I knew that that's where it's heading. I wouldn't want to be
Interesting.
around to be in a North Korea. I know how terrible it is. I don't need. I've seen enough. So he is a North Korean. He is a type of a Kim Jong Un and Il and the rest of the evil ones.
I don't think that that's the case. I think it's like a mischaracterization of his actions. But like, because if somebody may indulge themselves in the perspective of morality,
I don't know
one
what
may say that.
I don't know what morality is. When you say morality, you
I don't
lose
know
me.
either, but like
Yeah,
some
yeah,
people seem to know what morality is.
I don't believe
So,
that. I don't believe anyone knows
so
what
some
morality
people
is.
seem to have a model of what morality
I
is.
don't believe that.
Whether it's wrong or true,
No, I don't believe that
I don't
that's
believe
true.
that you don't believe
That's
that.
like saying some people
I
believe
don't
one
believe
plus one
that.
is. It's like saying some
I don't
people.
believe that.
Mr. Google, stop. So it's like saying some people believe that 1 + 1 is 3. I don't believe that some people believe 1 + 1 is 3. That's the end of
All
it.
right, I'm gonna do the easiest slam dunk ever. Okay, I think that morality is real, and I think it's bad to go up and shoot some guy in the back in the middle of the street.
No, I don't
That's
judge.
debatable.
We said, right, in his eyes, Mr. Luigi Mangione in his eyes is very moral. Hitler in his own eyes was very moral. Stalin in his own eyes, there's no evil. People in their own eyes are the best. Right? We each
Now,
believe.
let's say like,
Oh,
can I ask you a hypothetical question? Let's say that you are in charge of, the largest insurance company behind United Healthcare. Okay.
Mhm.
and you hired this funny Italian fellow with the name Luigi to go kill him to increase your own bottom line, how would you feel?
No, of course not.
Would that be justifiable?
No, no, that's illegal.
Why not? But I thought you said you only care about the bottom line.
But it's not legal. So the bottom line.
But what if you could get away with it? Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's not legal. It's only illegal if you get caught.
Is this fucking like Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky? Would you commit a crime if you knew you couldn't get away with it?
Exactly.
Or you could get away
look,
with it. I'm retarded. Sorry. If you could get away with it, would you?
So, well, you said like you only care. Well, he said he only cared about the bottom line. So, like somebody committed a
Oh, but
crime
he also cares
to.
about the law. He cares about what's legal.
So why? But so what if when these values come in conflict with each other? What happens then?
How? Give me an example.
What happens?
Like, so for example, you hire a funny Italian man to go kill your competitors.
Obviously, I mean that your bottom line is going to be in jail. That's a very bad bottom line.
Well, what if you don't get caught? Like, what if you just like frame it on this lone actor, and your bottom line increases?
Okay, that's unrealistic. I mean,
Well, let's take a
Is it
realistic
really?
example. What about like
I
corporate?
gotta speak up for Malibu's there. They messaged me and asked that you please unmute them. and let
No,
them
no,
speak.
I'm not gonna unmute. No, I'm not gonna unmute Malibu.
Well, let's take a more realistic example. What about corporate espionage? Like just spying on another company to reduce their bottom line. Is that acceptable?
Look, if it's legal, if you're able to do it legally, then who am I to judge?
You. Also,
So-
Slave, I
so,
apologize. You are right.
like,
I did
so-
not know the updated charges. He is a domestic terrorist.
So like, well, okay. So we have established that when the bottom line and law comes in conflict with each other, law takes precedent.
It's not. I mean, you might do something that is illegal and pay the fine. It might be better for the bottom line than not to do it. Like sometimes, right? If, let's say the law says don't do X, and if you do X, you pay a penalty Y. Okay, but if you but if you don't, it's too confusing. But the point is, you do the calculation for the bottom line. You might do something that is illegal and just pay the fine. We do it like it might make sense. If it makes sense, you look at the bottom line. What else can you look at? I'm not saying I'm a capitalist. I look at the bottom line because I'm an idiot. I'm a capitalist. I look at the bottom line because I don't know what else to look at. How else do you measure anything else in the universe? I'm just a scientist. I do
Externalities.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, yeah. So like, what if I use, criminal activities to increase my bottom line, like
Look,
selling drugs, for
At
example.
the end of the day, I look at the bottom line because I don't know what.
Okay,
else-
so like, is it okay to break laws to increase your bottom line?
What else am I gonna go by? I'm a capitalist because I'm
The law.
I'm a capitalist.
Why can't you answer the question?
I'm trying. You're not.
Yes,
letting me
is that a
talk.
yes?
You're not letting me talk.
I'm gonna take that as a yes.
Well, if you don't let me talk and take it as you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. But if you let me talk, I'll explain to you, and maybe you'll be wiser, maybe not, but at least you'll try. So I'm a capitalist because I'm a scientist. A capitalist just means I measure things. A scientist just means I measure things. A capitalist just measures things. The only way we have to measure is by bottom lines. I don't know how else to measure. I honestly
I mean,
don't.
you could be a socialist and measure things.
I don't know how to. I don't know how to do that.
The Soviets sort of did it.
I don't know.
I mean, they were trying to compute fucking prices from a command central economy.
I don't
It didn't
think
work
so.
very well.
Yeah,
But
I don't think. Yeah,
you know, but it's possible.
Okay,
The Marxists did try to measure things. That's true.
fine. Look, you can be a communist, right? The Soviet Union was a union of Soviets. A Soviet is just a commune. It's just a republic. So it's a socialist
Union of Soviet Socialist
yeah,
Republics.
it's a union of Soviets. It's a union of entities. that are separated geographically, I guess.
Like worker co-ops.
Whatever. So, and each one is a capitalist. You could create it in such a way that each unit is a capitalistic unit. You could do whatever you want, but at the end of the day, you want to be able to measure things. You want to be scientific about it. So if you're scientific about your economy, you're just a capitalist. Certainly, if you want to
Well,
optimize, if you want to
I mean,
optimize, look, if you want to optimize the well-being of your society, then you'd be a capitalist.
If you want to debate capitalism, we could do that. That's like
If you
a
were
separate
a true socialist, you'd be a capitalist.
So like, so what if like the law, like, so my question was, what if the law and capitalism come in conflict with each other? Like, which one do you prefer?
But there's no such thing. That's impossible.
There is such thing. It happens all the time.
Look,
It happens in
capitalism.
socialist countries. Capitalism and the law come in conflict with each other in socialist countries.
Look,
Capitalism and the law comes in conflict with each other when we talk about taxes.
okay, look.
Like, it happens every day, every minute of the day, and every second of the day. They come in conflict with each other all the time. Like, what do we do about it? What happens?
I don't see how that's possible. So
That's a complicated
let's
question. I don't like that question. I like the theoretical
No,
question
no,
of what's better, capitalism or socialism, right? I think that's
well,
a more
Marx
interesting question,
certainly.
you know?
Marx thought he was being very scientific. He said that, I'm employing a scientific kind of socialism as opposed to the utopian socialism, and this is the way that history is supposed to progress.
Okay, and I read Marx.
Sure, he did think that he was being very
I
scientific.
used to be a Marxist, and now I'm a capitalist. I know everything about Marx and everything he said, and I gave him a shot, and I think he was, a complete idiot, a conspiracy theorist. He spread nothing but disinformation. So I gave him a shot. Many years, for
I
many
don't like
years,
Karl Marx myself. What do you think about Teddy Roosevelt, Mr. Slave?
he was a wrestler. But other than that, he wasn't like I know very little about him. I don't think he
He
did.
was a trust buster.
Big fan of him.
So he used government authority to break up certain monopolies. It was a big part of his thing. He called himself a progressive.
So he's an
Well, he
idiot.
called,
And he was a Republican.
yeah, he called himself a progressive Republican.
So he's an idiot.
Oh, a progressive. He even called himself a conservative. He calls himself a progressive conservative.
It doesn't
So, like,
matter. So I judge him to be an utter idiot if that's what he did.
Oh my
I'm
god!
Really? Okay, well, you like Teddy Roosevelt.
Adam Smith would definitely agree with Teddy Roosevelt on that one. He would say,
I
like,
don't
you know,
care.
Yeah.
I don't.
Adam
care.
Smith also advocated for unions. He said when workers combine, then wages will rise. He was very clear about that.
Yeah, and like Adam Smith would even say that like a monopolies is one of the great errors of capitalism.
If you allow workers to unionize, then you have to allow enterprises, corporations to also unionize. Then you shouldn't have a problem with a cartel. So if you don't have a problem with everyone unionizing, that's fine. It's either all or no one. So you got to decide. You can't have it one way.
No, dude,
I agree.
I'm fine. I'm fine with corporations like aggregating to establish certain standards among themselves. I'm fine. With that. Like,
But in our country, we allow workers to unionize. We don't allow corporations to unionize under a cartel.
We allow we allow corporations to unionize in this country. We just don't also allow people.
It's not necessarily true. You can't do price controlling.
Well,
no, and public sector workers usually can't unionize.
Yeah, you're right, like Mr. Google. I'm just saying that we allow broad cooperation under reasonable means, right? For like corporations to be in what you would call quote unquote the union. The same thing can be done towards like employees. Of course, there are reasonable extents wherein you would prevent certain unions, right? Like for example,
look, in general,
I could imagine a labor cartel of like doctors, right?
That's what
and
we
basically
have. We literally have the American Medical
We
Association.
do have that. Yeah,
That
we do
is
have that.
literally
Yeah.
a government cartel of doctors. Anyway,
Yeah,
look,
that's true. We open
yeah,
I don't
meetings.
care. I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
care.
And what
I'm
I'm saying is, like, for example, in that case, right, it's actually detrimental towards the greater public because there are many medical services that you don't require a doctor. Like it could be done by a professional
Are
nurse.
you an ANCAP? Like that's very libertarian of you,
No, no, no,
Antonio.
no,
Is that
no.
what you're saying?
It's not an ANCA. I'm just saying that like there are a lot of medical services that can be done by people who don't need to have like a certification of being a doctor. Like they could just be a professional nurse, right? Like a
Sure.
PN.
That's true. Okay, Mr.
Or,
Slave, I want to talk to you about capitalism a little bit. I want to say like the ideal of capitalism just allows corporations to grow massively and gain increased
no,
power.
no.
To some extent, that's true.
No,
Like
no,
it
no.
does. Like
Wait, hold
okay,
on.
you're not going to allow me to make that point.
well,
No, I can
that's what,
allow you to elaborate, but if you start a sentence by something that I disagree with, then I'm going to say no. You might as well
okay,
stop and ask me what I mean. But you
okay,
can
Mr.
complete
Slave.
the sentence. I already disagreed with the beginning. You can go on and on and on.
Okay,
I
okay,
already
Mr.
dis.
Slave.
Mhm.
Like Adam Smith proposes that we should eliminate monopolies as much as we can,
I don't
right?
care about anyone. Tell me your opinion about something, and I'll respond. What's your opinion about whatever monopolies? You said.
Yeah, yeah. Like I would say that like, well, if I'm going to be a follower of capitalism and
What do you
capitalism,
mean? What's your right? So let's define capitalism. To me, the definition is market freedom, freedom of markets. It's the freedom for it's your freedom to
I
sell.
agree with that definition. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's your freedom to sell your property, your time, your body, your mind, sell and buy other people's time and money and property. You know, with
Right. The
no one.
problem,
Mhm,
if I can finish my thought, if that's
mhm.
okay, it was just that if as corporations get enormously large, they can obtain enormous power over society and over the government and everything else, and that becomes a problem. And it suddenly becomes a situation where corporations have more power than like the average working stiff. You know what I mean?
No,
Mm.
I don't know what
I
you
guess
mean.
what I'm saying is
Wait,
like a lot of people,
wait, but
a lot of,
he said
uh,
something, and I wait.
sure, sure,
Let's
sure.
respond. So, um, give me an example of like what. I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, we live in a democracy, so I mean, by the way, I can offer a better method than a democracy. But let's assume we live in a democracy. So if there is one corporation that becomes super duper huge, people can vote and do whatever they want.
You can vote, but you end up voting for
Good
candidates who
democracy.
are realistically going to be sort of embedded with either of them due to lobbying and like Congress is all in line with all these corporations and all this sort of stuff. So corporations end up having a huge amount of power over how societies run.
Look, but there's
That
there's
goes
no
for all power,
reason.
though.
But
This
there's
is an
no
issue with
reason.
any.
Wait,
This is an issue with any form of hierarchy, though. All forms of hierarchy that end up being created end up abusing those
No,
below them.
Yeah,
I
I'll
don't
This
agree
is
with
know.
that.
a like a fundamental problem with everything.
I would
I
say
would
that
agree.
I don't see that, but
It's
I
not
would say that
necessarily.
in general, where you have freedom, where you allow freedom, then statistically speaking, you get a Maxwell Boltzmann distribution, which means on the left side you're limited by zero, but on the right side there's no limit. So in reality, for example, you can have zero IQ, but you can have infinite IQ. You can have zero money, but you can have infinite money. There's no, basically, you're limited at
I'm confused
zero.
by that. I don't understand what that means.
What?
What does it mean to have zero money and infinite money? What does that mean?
The distribution of wealth is a Maxwell Boltzmann distribution. It's not symmetric. It's not a bell shape. It's limited on the left at zero, but it's unlimited on the right. It has an infinite tail on the right. So that's why you can have super duper wealthy people and it looks like there is inequality, but that's the
Well, there.
nature.
Okay. There is some inequality, and I
No,
want to say it's not limited to the left by zero.
no,
It's
I'm saying
limited to the
that's
left by
wait.
massive numbers of negative debt.
No, no,
Right
no.
now.
Let's assume right when you get to zero, if you have debt, you can just declare bankruptcy and you're back to zero. So
That's a legal construct, though. That's not a capitalist thing.
I'm just saying, in free systems, when you have a system that is free, for example, you have molecules of gas moving in a container. So, and you want to find out the distribution of velocity of the particles in the gas. So the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution gives you that the statistical distribution of the velocity of the
Well,
molecules. So the
Slade,
the velocity. Let me just finish. So the velocity is limited by zero. You cannot move slower than zero, but you can have but you can have infinite. Let's say up to the speed of light. You can move up to the speed of light. So basically, you're virtually unlimited on the right side of the graph, but you're limited at zero.
could I
So
ask
Yeah,
you a
no.
question?
Well, that makes sense, but like we live in a finite world.
sure,
Okay, so
but also there's the limit of the speed of light. So it's fine that I'm just saying that the nature of things, when you
could I ask?
leave a system be and let you give it freedom, like in capitalism,
Mm,
market freedom, you get a Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution. That's what usually
well,
you
Mr.
get.
Mr. Slade,
could I
what
could
percentage
I
of the
please?
population
Could
right
I,
now do you think has over $100 million?
no, could I
It
just please
doesn't
ask you
matter.
a
It
question?
doesn't matter.
Uh,
I'm
Slade,
saying I agree that there is
what do you
there
mean?
is
What do you mean? I just
inequality
want to. I want
built.
to ask you, what do you mean by market freedom?
What do you mean? I don't know what the
Yeah, what
question
do you mean by
means.
that term?
I don't know what.
Do you mean that just you just allow like the state to never like protect property rights?
Just the opposite. It's the job
It's
of
the
state to protect property rights,
yeah,
but
so that a market can actually exist, right?
basically
I mean, I don't want people stealing from me.
you can buy and sell anything that you owns. So you can sell anything and buy anything from anyone.
Yeah.
That's basically
Okay.
market freedom.
Yeah. But then like one could make the argument kind of like how Adam Smith did that he says that like what was it property rights.
Why do you go back to Adam Smith? Let's
There's
not
nothing wrong
bring.
with quoting Adam Smith. He's a
No, I don't
capitalist.
want to
He's a
waste. No,
source
I
of the whole
don't
thing.
know that's like appeal to authority. I don't care. Just
Hey, I
make
want
it
to
count.
hear his quotes from Adam Smith.
Fine,
What's
go
wrong with
ahead.
that?
Fine, go ahead.
Well, it's a good reference, isn't it? It's
Fine.
something that's we learned something from
It's
it.
ancient history. It's really not important. Go on. Go on.
Well, like Adam Smith would argue that what was it? If a monopoly occurs in the market, it's what it does is that it eliminates the property rights of most people, right?
Okay,
And
let's
so
ignore that Adam Smith said anything. What do you say? If a monopoly, I mean, it's
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
if a monopoly occurs,
mhm,
well,
yeah,
monopolies don't occur. I mean, what's a monopoly? A monopoly just means that someone is more able, right? Let's say I'm just a super duper someone at something. Let's say I'm a magnificent doctor, and everyone comes to me for a certain operation, and I'm
Yeah,
just the best there is.
he's
But
right.
but I'm limited. At the end of the day, I'm limited. But I'm a monopoly. I cannot be a monopoly, right?
I think
Even if
monopolies are almost more hypothetical than anything because throughout my entire
I don't
lifetime,
know
I've
what a
never
monopoly
seen a
is.
single monopoly.
I don't know what a
Like
monopoly
Yeah,
is.
monopolies
Microsoft
exist
was
all the
considered a
time throughout.
monopoly at one point. That
well,
didn't mean anything. Like
Well, no,
all the
like so
companies that are
monopolies have
regarded as
existed
monopolies are
historically, like
monopolies.
repeatedly.
yeah,
What?
monopolies like monopolies just mean that like given a certain kind of commodity good, they are the sole price maker,
How?
right?
How?
How? Well, like there could be many different ways
Name
of
one.
how
I
that could
can't think
occur.
of any
No,
examples in
no,
the modern
fine.
day. Can
Lungfish,
you?
let
Like
Newtonia go. How?
for example, natural monopolies would be businesses that have a high cost of entry, but then like
Give me an
really
actual
low.
example.
Yeah, like a that has really marginal costs
Well, give me an
of
actual
like
example.
production.
Give me an
Luigi
So for
example.
Mangione.
example, so for example, power generation. Like you
Yeah.
never see Like the reason why all kinds of power generation is state owned is because when you allow it to be privately owned, it's going to establish itself as a monopoly immediately, right?
How?
And
Why?
so the state
What do you
immediately
mean?
takes it over.
Okay.
It's
For
because power
don't
generation
don't
is a
explain.
high level of entry,
No, no,
right?
no.
That's
Explain.
right.
Give me an example of how a monopoly, a natural monopoly, can come into existence.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna say it again.
In the market or without the market?
In
Because that's an important
reality,
distinction.
it doesn't
No, no,
matter.
no, no. In the
So
market,
somebody can monopolize violence, or a group of people can monopolize violence, which
How?
happens all the time.
No,
that's
no,
also
no.
another
We're
one.
talking
Yeah,
about
Uh,
the
for just being
market.
incredibly efficient at the creation and development of means of violence.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
that's also
Mr.
another
Um,
Google,
violence.
hold on. That's not what we're talking about. He's talking about actual power generation or something. So,
Yeah,
an
commodity
actual
goods. Yeah,
example.
inside
power.
the market or outside the market?
I don't know
No,
what
no.
you mean. Google, let's
Yeah,
go with the power generation.
yeah, power generation. So power
Okay.
generation, it takes like the cost of entry into said commodity good for said
What do you mean cost
sorry,
of
into said
entry?
market.
What do you mean cost of entry?
Okay, so to generate power, you need a facility that has these huge generators,
Okay.
right? You need like
So what's
a
the
high
problem? It
supply
doesn't matter. It
of
doesn't
fuel,
matter. It doesn't
and
matter.
then you also
What?
need
It
to be
doesn't
able to
matter.
distribute said
It
power
doesn't matter.
towards.
It doesn't matter.
What do
So
you mean?
what? No, no. So what? Yeah,
It,
I
it, it
agree.
it
So
means that
go on.
it means that it's very hard for any kind of competitor to actually arise, right? So the
Why?
barrier to
Wait,
entry is
wait, wait,
high.
wait, 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 wait. Barrier to entry can be as high as you want. Yeah. So what? What? Why should I care?
Okay, so it
Well,
means
let's say wait. Let's say theoretically that like an individual or a group of engineers create a like the first working fusion reactor, and hold on to this secret very deeply and start a private corporation around this fusion reactor, and end up building a system of is where we get all of our energy from fusion reactors, and because it's more efficient than all other forms of energy. And then therefore they create a monopoly is where they are the only people that have access to this information to create this uh, system of energy, that which is what the world now currently uses completely. So that would be the example of somebody or a group of people inventing a technology which gives them the complete monopolization of a field.
Okay.
I
So
mean
you don't
that's
think
the
that the
supply side.
engineers, so you don't think that the engineers would now have an incentive to break off this monopoly and start competing with the original
Not if
monopoly?
they understand like Nash equilibriums, or if not if it's like headed by a single authority figure.
Yeah, no,
I
no,
don't
no. But why,
understand you.
dude?
Let's say I'm
No,
the
Mister
engineer. I'm an
Mister.
engineer. Hold on. I'm an engineer.
Yeah,
I understand. I'm going to break off and I'm going to create a competitor. Why should I work for someone if I can compete with them?
So,
but why would
well,
you?
let's say like theoretically that you may make more money like under them, like you may get paid more than if you were their competitor.
Okay. I don't
Right?
I mean
Maybe you have to understand that most people are
that doesn't
extremely
make it.
loss averse.
Then that
No,
I don't think that
again,
makes
this is
that doesn't make any sense. I don't
no.
think
This
that's
Okay, well,
possible.
like so Rockefeller, like
I can have 50%.
wait. So
I can have 50.
Rockefeller,
I can have 50%
no, you have to
of the.
understand that Rockefeller maintained a monopoly for a very significant portion of time,
No.
right?
Can I just go
It
back
doesn't make
towards
any
the power
sense.
generation? Like here, I'm going to work with Mr. Google's like a hypothetical, right? So you're saying that this individual, an engineer, goes out, right, and then tries to create a competitor, right? He's going to do what? He's going to establish a small power plant, and he's going to use
Why small?
like the
Why small?
sure, like we can say like a big power plant, right? He's going to use and he's going to be competing against this already established power
So what
plant
if it's already
that has
established? So what if it's
the
already?
ownership
So what if it's wait, wait, answer the question. So
Mr.
what if
Slave, Mr.
wait,
Slave,
answer the
Mr. Slave,
question.
please
No, you're
let me finish my let me
what's the
finish my like
point?
hypothetical.
What's the point?
Let
If
me
I
finish
already
my hypothetical.
but
Let
if I
me
already
finish my hypothetical.
why? But if I already have a question,
Because because I'm going to show you, right, that like this already established power plant has ownership of this distribution,
so
like
what? So what?
like the
So what?
means of distribution
So
of
what?
power. So
So
like
what?
the power grid they
So
own,
what?
right?
So what?
So this
So what if it's already? So
so
what? So
so
offer
the
so
competitor
So
They
also,
are reliant on the infrastructure that the that 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 their
Okay.
competitor owns, right? And so the parent company can just seize the other competitor from actually accessing the power grid, and therefore they can't sell their power,
okay,
right? And so they've lost.
Newtonia, you're creating a very complicated situation. So it's going to be
No,
difficult.
that's how power generation. That's why power generation becomes like this is why state governments take over power generating companies, because like if you
Newtonia,
leave them under their own
Newtonia,
methods, they become natural monopolies.
Newtonia, stop. So
Yeah,
you're
this fucking slave dude's a retard.
what?
Certified.
I mean, the whole conversation is kind of retarded.
Okay,
Okay.
the door is open. Anyone who is not enjoying this conversation may leave
Oh, no,
now.
I just want no, I'm enjoying it thoroughly, but I just wanted to say that you're a retard.
I'm gonna mute you if you're gonna offend people, especially me, because you're
Offend.
wasting my time. So I'll start with muting you, and maybe I'll unmute you. Yes,
You're a
Newtonia.
faggot pussy.
Wait, who said that?
I did, you faggot pussy.
All right, there you go. So, Mr.
I'll still talk to you, Mr. Slave. What's up?
No, me and Newtonia are talking, Lungfish. It's fine. I mean, some people, I don't know what's wrong with them. Anyway, yeah, I mean, anyone who's not enjoying this conversation thoroughly may leave. I don't need to talk to 1,000 people. Anyway,
I like having an audience when I speak. That's just part of how I am. So like I can talk to you individually, and there's 2 other people listening now, which is good. Some of them might drop, but I'm happy to. I like having an audience when I speak.
well, we're on YouTube and it's recorded. It's going to be available for all the generations. So
You're not actually putting this on YouTube, are you?
why not?
Well, I mean, that'd be fine with me. I'd love it.
Do you think I'd be having this conversation if this were not to be on YouTube? You think I'd?
I know you're not. I know you're not putting it on YouTube because it's too edgy for you. You're a scaredy cat. A little bit of a scaredy cat.
What are you talking about? This is on YouTube right now.
Okay, show me the link to it. I want to watch it.
Yeah, 1 second. Here's the link.
I can send it to be streaming by joining the server, by the way.
You can
what? I'll stream you, mate. You can. I'm joking. I'm joking.
I consented to be recorded by joining the stream. That is a true thing.
Yeah, you do. Recorded and cut. No,
Yeah.
no, just recorded.
Oh, are you like
Maybe
a?
cut.
Are you
Maybe
like a?
cut. An angel.
Are you
Am I the
Australian?
conjure-
Or British? I can't tell. I can never tell if they're Australian or British. Oh, he muted him. Unfortunately.
I mean, I don't even know if he was kidding or not kidding.
When you don't give people a chance, you gotta let them mess around.
I gave him enough of a chance. Anyway,
I haven't seen a link to the YouTube channel. Is
it's
that
on the
a real
side
thing?
chat. It's in the side chat.
Okay, here it is. Here I am. Oh, nice. I'm on YouTube right now. Sweet.
Yeah. Anyway,
Look at, I'm a star.
yeah, Mr. Newtonia. So the example you keep giving, I understand where you're coming from. It feels like you're trying to push your narrative that socialism and communism have to happen because and for the because, like, insert any reason, any arbitrary reason, and then you give arbitrary reasons. Well, look at that's the way it is right now, therefore that's the way it has to be. So in my opinion, that's the way it is now, not because it has to be, but because this specific industry has been socialized. Like a lot of industries, unfortunately, in the West have been socialized. So the power industry.
So
Go ahead.
my answer, because I think you've been talking to me,
Yeah.
not Newtonia, but that's okay. And I've actually turned off my mute button just because I'm trying to answer you more effectively.
What do you mean? It was for Newtonia. It was Newtonia who brought up the power generation example.
Did you want to talk to him?
I mean, he was the one who brought it up. I mean,
Okay, talk to him. Talk to him. I'll mute myself. Forget it.
Oh, dude, don't say that. Well, I just wanted to say, Mr. Slave, like, what are your thoughts? Why did governments like co-opt these spheres of economic activity and then allow other spheres of economic activity to not be owned by them?
I think there is an asymmetry. I think it's game theory. You should look into game theory and stuff to see.
I know game theory, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying to see why systems tend to become dictatorships. Why systems tend to become government monopolies and government fascistic monopolies. It's just a tendency of the system. The question is, why is it? It's a mathematical tendency of the system. Because because of politicians and politics and the masses and so on. So it's just it's the nature of things. It doesn't mean that that's the optimal solution. I think it's suboptimal. I think it's headed towards North Korea, and I think mathematically it's unavoidable. We will become North Korea. We'll become much worse than North
All
Korea.
right, I got to interject with you here because you're scaremongering a little bit. The idea that we will become North Korea, which we're not going to become. We're not going to become that. Like, we're a very different country than North Korea.
But I'm giving a math. I'm arguing for mathematics. I'm saying there is a mathematical tendency of systems. So if
what I don't understand is like you're rejecting the idea of natural monopolies occurring, right? Which which if they do occur, would also fall into this dilemma that you're talking about, which is like, oh, it's going to yield into an inefficient system, right? Like most people won't be like,
what do you mean
let's say,
inefficient?
service.
What do you mean
Well, like
inefficient?
if there's like what you want, if you're a capitalist, right? What you want is perfect competition, right?
No.
Perfect comp. You
No.
don't want that.
No.
I
What
don't
are
know
you
what kind of
talking
What
about?
I want. What I want. No. Right. So
I thought you want like I thought you want the most efficient market possible.
no. I want
Yeah,
to.
you should.
I want maximum efficiency altogether. I want the bottom line.
Well, that's
I'm
Yeah.
judging.
said.
I'm judging by the average quality of life. For example, I want the highest quality of life
Well,
for the
we
average
don't know.
citizen.
Well, we don't know if quality of life is going to be the pursuit of a most efficient market, right? Because the most efficient market means that there is, what was it? That there is no, I forgot the term for it. It's like a backdrop supply. Wait, let me
It
find.
just means that the prices are always going to be stabilized because people will be engaging in buying
Yeah.
and selling that ensures that prices are always going to be stabilized. That's all.
Yeah. Like the prices. Yes, exactly. It's the price is always at the equilibrium point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and when the market has the price of goods at the equilibrium point, that means that both suppliers and buyers are perfectly meeting, right?
Mhm.
Where they should be. Therefore, you have a completely efficient market. Like this is only often occurs in a state of perfect competition, right? And this is why I said, as a capitalist, you would pursue this. However, there are enemies to perfect competition, right?
It's called arbitrage, by the way. Arbitrage is the word that is used to describe buying and selling in various markets to equalize prices.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is like there are enemies to perfect competition. One of the enemies is state-owned monopolies. That's right. Another enemy is natural monopolies. and
No.
and natural monopolies can
No.
occur even
No,
without state intervention.
no.
Why,
No,
why,
that's not
why
true.
do you reject this?
Why do I reject it?
Yeah.
That's like saying, why do I reject it? 1 + 1 is 3. Why do I don't know.
I think you have to accept the idea on a hypothetical basis, at
What do you
least.
mean?
Just like a hypothetical company that acquired all access over a resource, right?
Look, we tried once with the power with the power industry, and I showed you that it makes sense for the people that work for the monopoly to break off and create a competitor. And this is going to
Yes, but
happen. It's hold on. This is going and then your objection was it wasn't really an objection. You said you had to complicate and complicate and complicate and complicate the hypothetical. But just a straightforward hypothetical says that if it's going to always make sense for more and more and more competitors to show up until the market is saturated with competitors, and then the profit is going to tend to zero, and that's the idea of capitalism. So
I
in a
remember the term. Yeah, it's called deadweight loss. But like, Mr. Slave,
Mhm.
I'm talking about, right? Like what you say as complication. I'm just saying that, like, hey, if the parent company, right, the company that these engineers like break away from.
you're already overcomplicating it. I don't need the word parent. We have the original monopoly.
Okay, sir, sir.
Once you have an
The original
original
monopoly.
once you have an
Yes, sir.
original monopoly, you have workers. The workers, you don't even need to have workers. You see, you have other people. They look at it. They say, "Oh, you figured this thing out. Well, I'll also figure it out." And if it's so profitable, if you have a monopoly, so it means it's so profitable to have this business. So all the money, all the finance in the economy is going. Is somebody whistling?
Yeah, sorry. Continue.
Wait, you were whistling?
Yes, that was me. Sorry.
Why?
I do that. I do that when I hear points being reiterated again and again.
Oh, I think his point was fine. I think his point was fine.
Yeah. Sorry, it's just it's just a tick of mine.
It's a tick?
I am listening to you.
Then
Yeah,
mute
I do.
yourself. If you're going to have a tick, then mute
No,
yourself.
let's not get upset. Let's just
No,
let's
this is unacceptable. What do you mean? What kind of behavior is this?
You know you're getting moral on us. That's okay. Okay.
It's not.
All
It's
right. It was
it-
slightly rude. It was slightly rude for him to whistle. I didn't even hear him whistling because I had the wind.
No,
howling
this is
at me.
unacceptable. This is completely
Okay.
unacceptable. This is the behavior. This is exactly what this room is about. This is
He's having a
about
good conversation with you. Isn't he?
no. This is exactly what Luigi Mangione did. It's like when communists cannot argue, they use violence. That's exactly what he just did.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's a little bit of exaggeration whistling.
No, it's
okay,
not even a little
I'll agree.
bit.
It's rude. It's rude. It's rude. It's
Yes,
rude. It's rude.
of course it's rude.
It's certainly rude.
Yes.
It's not rational. There's no rationality to it.
I mean, there is rationality. It's the use of violence to shove
violence.
Yes,
Violence is an intense word for whistling, but I understand what you're saying.
Whistling
It's
in a
like-
debate is violence. This
Do you
one-
really think so?
Yes, that's why Mr. Newtonia should leave. We had enough.
Wow.
Why
Okay.
did you mute me? I was just whistling quietly. Yes, Mr. Newtonia, you should leave. You're not welcome in my life. I'm not going to discuss anything with anyone who's going to whistle as I'm responding. And then on top of that, he's claiming that I was reiterating. Okay, then fine. Then we're done. Newtonia, leave.
All right.
Leave.
Well, I guess that means I get to talk to you now. Then.
Yes, you can talk to me.
I'm trying to remember what my original point was, but we can continue on with the earlier point if you want.
Mm-hmm. We can
What-
talk about
what-
anything,
what are
but
you talking about? Why don't you rephrase the point for me so that I can continue
look,
on?
what Mr. Newtonia just did is exactly my point. It's no other point. That's exactly the point. It's when
Oh,
a
right. You want to
socialist.
talk about that. You want to talk about the nature of debate and whether or not it's appropriate to use techniques like
Violence.
whistling. Right, exactly.
It's
Which you call
violence.
violence, which I can understand why that might be regarded as violence. And actually, that's the subject of the channel is what's
Exactly.
appropriate discussion material.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I get it. So, because it's not even about capitalism versus socialism, it's about how is it appropriate to really communicate with your fellow man in a debate, right? That's basically what it's about.
Exactly. We're here to present arguments and try to convince each other. And what Luigi Mangione wanted to do, he said, he wrote it verbatim in his manifesto. He said, I'm not so good at presenting the argument. There's other people who are better than me at presenting the argument. Who did
Right,
he
yeah, that makes sense.
and
Yeah.
who did he refer to? Moore, that fat slob, communist.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes,
So
him.
it's funny. It's funny because like he did all this. He pretended he was right wing, or at least he was anti woke, but at the same time he was really left wing. Apparently, he likes freaking Moore. What's Moore's first name?
I don't remember. But
I forgot. I don't even remember what his first name is.
Look, but
the fat guy.
But the whole point.
Michael
Moore.
Yeah.
Moore, thank you.
The whole point of what Mr. Newtonia just did. I mean, right? So that's what Luigi Mangione did. It's like, I'm not able to present an argument. I'm not going to present an argument. I'm not going to engage in a debate. I'm not
It's
going
true. You're right. It's kind of the essence of it. It's kind of the
Yes.
essence of it, isn't it? It's the core essence of it. It's just like it's
Yeah.
being disrespectful, not being rational, basically
It's
abandoning the
rational.
concept of
It's
rational conversation,
rational.
right?
It's rational. What Mr. Luigi Mangione did is rational. He thought, and he was right, that he would get the support of the people and he would lead a revolution.
I wouldn't call it rational. I think calling it rational is bad, because to me rational means that you're in a civilized conversation where you're both discussing the merits of your arguments and so on.
You don't
And
have
so
to.
obviously killing someone is not a rational thing to
No.
do, and neither is
it's-
whistling during the conversation.
No, it's
However-
rational. It's rational to become a terrorist. What the founding fathers
Don't
did.
say that.
No, but what the founding fathers, they were terrorists. They decided to use terrorism.
Okay. I got to calm it down for a second here. I don't want to embrace the idea that the founding fathers were terrorists, and I don't want to embrace the idea that it's rational
rebels.
terrorists.
They
Okay,
were
I don't want to
rebels.
embrace
That's
those
the more
ideas.
appropriate term.
What?
I'm just saying, like, I understand the point you're trying to make, but those are dangerous concepts. And
of course, the founding fathers.
And I will say that
risked-
whistling in a debate is not unheard of. Like, that sort of rudeness is not unheard of in like classic Greek philosophy. Like, people would be slightly rude to one another a little bit in debates sometimes. It wasn't. Whistling is found in Shakespeare, in dialogue. People are rude, very slightly rude, and I do think it's a big difference to say that whistling at someone is the same thing as killing them. I think that's a big gulf to make. In the same way that I think it's a big gulf to say that the founding fathers were terrorists. I'm never going to tell you that I acknowledge that the founding fathers of the U.S. were terrorists. I support the founding fathers. I believe they were great guys. I do not think they were terrorists. Okay.
I support the founding
What is a terrorist?
fathers.
How do you define that?
I support the founding fathers, but to King George, of course, they were terrorists. So it's a.
What do you
it's
mean
a-
by terrorist? Define that word.
They used violence to accomplish a political goal.
So what's the difference between being a rebel and being a terrorist?
No, there's no difference. It's all the same.
I
Luigi
disagree. I think
Mangione.
there is a difference.
What?
I would argue there is a difference.
Okay, argue. I'm listening.
The word terrorist, people try to give it a very specific definition, but in practice, de facto, the way it's used is a label that justifies a government pursuing someone violently. The United Arab Emirates, there is a guy who criticizes the government. He's an Emirati citizen. He doesn't use any violence whatsoever, but he's deemed to be a terrorist according to the Emirati state.
You don't
In
have
another
to.
country,
You don't have to use violence to be considered a terrorist. If you tell people like Osama bin Laden himself didn't drive planes into buildings.
Okay, but that's he organized the whole
Fine,
thing.
then
Plus,
you don't. It's not what you do, right? So if you don't have to do something. Hitler didn't kill personally any Jews.
right, exactly, you're right, yeah.
here's the thing, Mr. Slave. The Haganah and the Lehi were Zionist militias during the British Mandate for Palestine. They were considered by the British authorities to be terrorists, but to the Israelis, they are the precursor of the IDF.
That's
Terrorist
fine.
is basically
Yes, that's what. But that's exactly my point. I mean, terrorists. The founding fathers were terrorists in the eyes
All right.
of King George.
All right. Okay, Mr. Slave, you're right in some extent that how you view someone as a terrorist is to some extent, a matter of perspective. But I'm not going to accept that it's entirely a matter of perspective.
What do you mean? It's
everything.
Everything in the universe is relative.
No, I don't accept that. I don't accept that.
What is not relative?
I think there's
name
gotta
something. Name something that is not relative.
I think there's got to be an argument in which
name something
the
that is
American revolutionaries were not terrorists objectively.
Wait, what
and
do you
they
mean
were actually
objectively?
doing what was right
What
and
do you
good.
mean? What do you mean objectively? In the eyes of King George, of course they were.
No, well, but the odds of King George were wrong. It's just my
What do you
argument.
mean?
I don't agree with
That's in your eyes. That's according to you. But of course, King George disagreed with you. So there's at least
Mr. Slave, King George saw them as rebels.
Yes.
Well, like a Mr. Slave, could there be any opinion that is true?
No.
Okay. Well,
See, you're pretty nihilistic in that way. I mean, like, well, I grant what you're doing. You're doing it like a Nietzschean perspectivism
I don't
thing,
know.
which is
I don't know
okay.
anything about Nietzsche except
That's
for
fine.
maybe,
I understand. If you're not familiar with it, that's okay.
I
But that's
don't. I don't know anything about him. I'm sorry. I don't know
that's okay.
I don't know anything about any of the philosophers. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm not accusing you of trying to like ape them or do what they're doing. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just, it's my own fault because I shouldn't have used that terminology. I was just trying to explain how I perceived your position because that's pretty much the position that guy had. But
I'm lost. He asked me
his position was that truth doesn't exist and that everything is a matter of perspective, right?
Yes.
That's perspectivism by Friedrich Nietzsche. That's his philosophy.
I don't know anything about those terms.
I'm telling you, study it because you'll find it very interesting.
Well,
I'm going to take a break.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so does anyone have a position on Mr. Luigi Mangione as a domestic terrorist?
Does anyone what?
So do you feel that Luigi
I'll go to
Mangione
bed, but
is a
okay, it was nice
domestic?
talking to you guys, and
Can anyone hear me? What's going on? The connection is falling apart. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Checking Luigi. There's a yellow. The room is yellow for some reason. Can somebody hear me? Can anyone hear me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can anyone hear me? Anyway, I don't know if I'm staying here any longer. I gotta go. Maybe I should go. Oh, we've been here for 4 hours already. Okay, it's back. Lungfish, can you hear me? Oh, he's on a break. The Cube, can you hear me? Anyway, okay, I'm gonna maybe leave. I think we had enough of a conversation for today. Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll take a break. Okay, I'll see you later.